Uncharted 4: A Thief's End.
Here we go.
Uncharted 4 is an exemplary tale of adventure, brotherhood, and the pursuit of treasure that brilliantly wraps up Nathan Drake's story. If you're a fan of high-stakes action and rich narratives, this game is an absolute must-play. The story begins with Nathan Drake, now retired from his treasure hunting days, living a quiet life with his wife, Elena. However, his past catches up to him when his long-lost brother, Sam, reappears with a tantalizing proposition: the hunt for the lost pirate colony of Libertalia and its legendary treasure. This setup pulls Nathan back into a world he thought he had left behind. One of the core strengths of Uncharted 4's narrative is its focus on character development and relationships. The dynamic between Nathan and Sam is central to the story. Their bond, filled with shared history and tension, drives much of the game's emotional depth. You see their relationship evolve as they embark on their perilous quest, revealing layers of loyalty, guilt, and sacrifice. The game does an excellent job of weaving in Nathan's internal conflict. He's torn between his adventurous past and his desire for a stable future with Elena. This tension adds a layer of complexity to his character and makes his journey all the more compelling. The narrative explores themes of identity and legacy, questioning whether Nathan can truly leave behind the life of a thief and what it means to chase dreams at the cost of personal relationships. The story is paced beautifully, with a perfect balance of high-octane action sequences and quieter, character-driven moments. The flashbacks to Nathan and Sam's childhood are particularly effective, providing context and depth to their bond and motivations. These glimpses into their past make their current struggles and ambitions more relatable and poignant. The culmination of the story in Libertalia is nothing short of spectacular. The mythical pirate haven is brought to life with stunning detail, and the final act is a thrilling blend of action and emotional resolution. If you're looking for a game with a gripping story and well-developed characters, Uncharted 4 is an unforgettable experience that delivers on all fronts. Nathan Drake's final adventure is one that you won't want to miss. The Last of Us Part 1. One of the first things that struck me about The Last of Us is how beautifully crafted the world is. Despite the bleak setting, there's a haunting beauty to the environments. Overgrown cities, abandoned homes, and nature reclaiming the world are rendered with incredible detail. The game's art direction and environmental storytelling are top-notch, making every location feel unique and telling its own story of the world that once was. The gameplay in The Last of Us balances tense combat, stealth, and exploration. The encounters with infected and human enemies are intense and require strategic thinking. The limited resources and brutal combat mechanics emphasize the harshness of the world, making every encounter feel meaningful. Stealth is often the best approach, and the game's level design supports multiple playstyles, allowing you to tackle situations in various ways. The storytelling in The Last of Us is where the game truly shines. The narrative is gripping from start to finish, filled with emotional highs and lows.
Can't be for nothing.
The relationship between Joel and Ellie is at the heart of the story, and watching it develop is both touching and profound. The game doesn't shy away from dark themes and tough moral choices, making you question what you would do in their situation. The writing is sharp, and the dialogue feels natural, adding to the overall immersion. The game's sound design and music also deserve special mention. The sound effects are realistic and enhance the tension, especially during stealth sequences. The soundtrack, composed by Gustavo Santaolalla, is hauntingly beautiful and perfectly complements the game's emotional tone. The music adds another layer to the storytelling, making key moments even more impactful. While The Last of Us Part 1 is nearly flawless, it's worth noting that the game is very linear. This isn't a sandbox experience, but rather a tightly controlled narrative journey. For me, this works perfectly, as it allows the story to remain focused and impactful, but it's something to keep in mind if you prefer more open-ended games. In conclusion, The Last of Us Part 1 is a must-play for anyone who values storytelling in games. Its combination of a compelling narrative, rich character development, stunning visuals, and intense gameplay creates an unforgettable experience. Joel and Ellie's journey through a ravaged world is one of the most powerful stories in gaming, and it's an experience that should not be missed. If you're looking for a game that will move you, challenge you, and stay with you long after you've finished, The Last of Us Part 1 is the perfect choice. Mafia Definitive Edition. Let's talk about Mafia Definitive Edition, the 2020 remake of the classic 2002 game. This remake isn't just a visual upgrade, it's a complete reimagining that brings the story and characters to life in stunning detail. If you're a fan of gripping narratives and period pieces, this game is a must-play. You play as Tommy Angelo, a taxi driver who gets swept into the world of organized crime in the 1930s. The story follows Tommy's rise through the ranks of the Salieri crime family, and it's a tale filled with drama, betrayal, and intense moments. What I love about Mafia Definitive Edition is how it captures the essence of the original game while adding new layers of depth and nuance to the story and characters. The visuals in this remake are absolutely stunning. Lost Heaven, the fictional city based on Chicago, is beautifully recreated with meticulous attention to detail. The period-specific architecture, vintage cars, and atmospheric lighting make the city feel alive and authentic. Driving through the rain-soaked streets at night or watching the sunset over the city skyline are moments that really showcase the game's graphical prowess. The performances are top-notch, adding emotional weight to the story. You really get a sense of the characters' personalities and motivations, which makes the narrative even more engaging. Gameplay-wise, Mafia Definitive Edition strikes a good balance between action and storytelling. The combat is satisfying, with a mix of gunfights and melee combat that feels intense and impactful. The driving mechanics have also been improved, making the vintage cars a joy to drive. The game's missions are varied and well-designed, keeping you engaged throughout the story. One of the standout features for me is the game's commitment to its 1930s setting. The period-specific details from the radio broadcasts and music to the fashion and dialogue immerse you in the era. It's clear that a lot of care and attention went into making the world of Mafia Definitive Edition feel authentic and lived in. However, the game does have its limitations. The open world of Lost Heaven, while beautifully crafted, isn't as interactive as you might expect from a modern open world game. There's not a lot to do outside of the main story missions, which can make the city feel a bit empty at times. But for me, this isn't a deal breaker, as the focus is clearly on delivering a compelling narrative experience. In conclusion, Mafia Definitive Edition is a fantastic remake that revitalizes a classic story with stunning visuals and modern gameplay mechanics. If you're a fan of story-driven games and appreciate a well-crafted period piece, this game is definitely worth your time. It's an immersive cinematic experience that will keep you hooked from start to finish. Tommy Angelo's journey through the criminal underworld of Lost Heaven is one you won't want to miss. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Alright, if we're talking about the best story games, we absolutely have to mention The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. This game is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to storytelling, and it's one that I could talk about for hours. You play as Geralt of Rivia, a grizzled monster hunter navigating a war-torn world in search of his adopted daughter Ciri. The story is incredibly rich and layered, filled with complex characters, political intrigue, and moral ambiguity. What really stands out to me is how well the game handles its main storyline alongside the countless side quests. Each quest feels meaningful and adds depth to the world and its inhabitants. The writing in The Witcher 3 is some of the best you'll find in any game. The dialogue is sharp and natural, and the choices you make have real weight affecting the story and the world around you. I love how the game doesn't shy away from tough, morally gray decisions. There are rarely any clear-cut good or bad choices, which makes every decision feel significant and impactful. The characters are another highlight. Geralt, with his dry wit and gruff exterior, is a compelling protagonist. But it's not just Geralt. The entire cast of characters, from the sorceress Yennefer to the lovable bard Dandelion, are well developed and memorable. Their personal stories and relationships with Geralt add so much to the overall narrative. Visually, the game is stunning. The world of The Witcher 3 is incredibly detailed and varied, from the bustling cities and war-torn villages to the dense forests and snowy mountains. The game's use of color and lighting is fantastic, creating an atmosphere that's both immersive and beautiful. Riding through a stormy night or watching the sunset over a lake are moments that really stick with you. The gameplay is equally impressive. Combat is fluid and satisfying with a mix of swordplay, magic, and alchemy. The monster hunts are particularly exciting, requiring you to research and prepare for each unique foe. The open world is packed with things to do, from exploring hidden treasures and crafting powerful gear to playing Gwent, the surprisingly addictive in-game card game. One of the most memorable aspects for me is how the game handles its lore. The world of The Witcher is steeped in rich history and mythology, and the game does an excellent job of weaving this lore into the story and the environment. It makes the world feel alive and believable. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is an epic adventure that raises the bar for storytelling in games. Its blend of deep, engaging narrative, complex characters, and a richly detailed world makes it a standout title. If you're looking for a game with a story that will keep you hooked from start to finish, this one is a must-play. Geralt's journey is one you won't soon forget. Disco Elysium. Alright, let's dive into the world of Disco Elysium, a game that has redefined what storytelling in video games can be. If you haven't played this gem yet, you're in for a treat. I have to say, Disco Elysium blew me away with its depth and creativity. You play as a down-and-out detective with a serious case of amnesia, trying to solve a murder mystery in the grungy, fictional city of Ravakul. What makes this game truly stand out is its dialogue and character interactions. The writing is sharp, witty, and often darkly humorous. Every conversation feels meaningful and can lead you down various narrative paths depending on your choices. The game doesn't just hand you the story, it lets you discover it through exploration and dialogue, which makes it incredibly immersive. One of the coolest things about Disco Elysium is how it handles skills and abilities. Instead of just being stats that affect combat or simple tasks, your skills are like voices in your head, each with its own personality and opinion. This adds layers to your character and makes every decision feel significant. Your choices can lead to different outcomes, and the game has multiple endings based on how you play. It really feels like you're shaping the story with every decision you make. The art style is another highlight. It's this beautiful, painterly aesthetic that perfectly captures the bleak, melancholic atmosphere of the game. Combined with an evocative soundtrack, it creates an experience that's as much about the mood as it is about the narrative. But I won't lie, Disco Elysium isn't for everyone. It's very text-heavy, so if you're not into reading lots of dialogue, it might not be your cup of tea. However, if you love deep, narrative-driven games with rich, complex characters and a story that sticks with you long after you've finished, this game is a must-play. I can't recommend Disco Elysium enough if you're looking for a game that offers a truly unique storytelling experience. It's a masterpiece in narrative design and one of the best story games I've ever played. Red Dead Redemption 2.
Your lip? Shut up. You got some kind of rock in your boot?
Alright, let's talk about Red Dead Redemption 2, a game that absolutely floored me with its storytelling and depth. If you're into immersive narratives and rich character development, this one's a must-play. In Red Dead Redemption 2, you step into the boots of Arthur Morgan, an outlaw in the dying days of the Wild West. The story is gripping from start to finish, weaving a tale of loyalty, betrayal, and redemption. What I love about this game is how it makes you care about Arthur and the members of the Van der Lindang. Each character feels real with their own backstories, personalities, and motivations. The world of Red Dead Redemption 2 is incredibly detailed and alive. From the bustling towns to the vast, open wilderness, every corner of this game is meticulously crafted. The dynamic weather and day-night cycle add to the immersion, making you feel like you're truly living in this world. It's the kind of game where you can get lost just exploring and taking in the scenery. The writing and voice acting are top-notch, the dialogue feels natural, and the characters are brought to life by outstanding performances. Arthur's journey is filled with emotional highs and lows, and the game doesn't shy away from tough, morally complex situations. It really makes you think about the choices you make and their consequences. Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of those rare games where everything just comes together perfectly. The story, characters, world building, and gameplay all combine to create an unforgettable experience. If you're looking for a game with a compelling narrative and a world that feels truly alive, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game you can't miss. Trust me, it's an epic tale that will stay with you long after the credits roll. Alright, let's dive into the Quarry. This game is a thrilling, interactive horror story that keeps you on the edge of your seat. You play as a group of teenagers who are spending their last night at summer camp. But things quickly go from fun to terrifying. The game starts with everyone excited for their last night together, but as the sun goes down, strange and creepy things start happening. You have to make choices for the characters, and these choices will decide who lives and who doesn't.
Nick! Oh my god!
It's like being in a scary movie where you control what happens next. The characters in the Quarry are really interesting. Each one has their own personality and backstory. As you play, you get to know them better and understand their fears and motivations. This makes the story more engaging because you care about what happens to them. One of the best parts of the game is the suspense. You never know what's going to happen next. There are moments when you have to make quick decisions, and these moments are very intense. The wrong choice can lead to a character getting hurt or worse. The game also looks amazing, the graphics are very detailed, and the setting of the camp at night is really creepy. The sound effects and music add to the scary atmosphere, making you feel like you're really there with the characters. The Quarry is a game that combines storytelling with horror in a very effective way. It's all about making choices and dealing with the consequences. If you enjoy scary stories where you get to decide what happens, you'll love The Quarry. It's like being in your own horror movie, trying to keep everyone safe while uncovering the mysteries of the night. Life is Strange.
I just wanted to see what would happen if I did this.
I'm gonna kill you.
This game is all about choices and feelings. You play as Max, a girl who can rewind time. It's like a magic power she gets one day. The story is set in a small town called Arcadia Bay. Max comes back to her hometown after many years to go to school. There, she meets her old friend Chloe. Chloe is very different now and she needs Max's help. The story is about their friendship and a big mystery they need to solve. The cool thing about Life is Strange is the choices you make. Every choice changes the story. You can go back and change your decisions if you don't like what happens. This makes the game very interesting because you see how different choices make different outcomes. By the end of the game, the story gets very intense and emotional. There are many ups and downs, and you get really attached to the characters. The game also talks about serious topics like bullying, family problems, and growing up. It makes you think about real-life issues. The ending is very powerful and can make you feel a lot of emotions. Life is Strange is a great story game because it makes you care about the characters and their journey. It's easy to play and understand, and the timed rewind power is a fun twist. If you like stories where your choices matter and change the outcome, you'll love this game. It's like watching a good movie where you get to decide what happens next. Kingdom Come Deliverance. So let's talk about Kingdom Come Deliverance, a medieval RPG from Warhorse Studios. This game started its journey back in 2011 and finally hit the shelves in 2018. Despite some initial bugs, it got mostly positive reviews. What sets it apart is its focus on historical accuracy set in 15th century Bohemia. It's not your typical RPG, it feels more like a medieval life simulator. First off, the story is pretty gripping. You play as Henry, a blacksmith's son, whose peaceful life is shattered when his village is attacked and his parents are killed. This kicks off Henry's quest for revenge in his journey to become a knight. The game world is stunning, powered by CryEngine with lush forests and detailed environments. What's cool is that NPCs have their own routines, and your actions can significantly change how the game unfolds. Now, the gameplay is where it gets really interesting. Kingdom Come Deliverance isn't just about swinging swords, it's about realism. Combat requires you to time your strikes and position yourself just right. You also have to manage things like hunger and hygiene. Ignore these and you'll face the consequences. Your reputation matters too. Mess up and you might find yourself in jail or facing hefty fines. It's a game where every choice counts. All in all, Kingdom Come Deliverance is a fantastic game. If you're into RPGs that go heavy on realism and historical detail, it's challenging, immersive, and incredibly rewarding. So if you haven't played it yet, now's a great time to dive into this medieval adventure. Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima is a standout title from Sucker Punch, known for games like Sly Cooper and Infamous. This game, set in feudal Japan, allows you to play as a samurai or stealthy ghost. It's a beautiful send-off for the PS4 generation and has since been released on PC. Initially, I was skeptical about Ghost of Tsushima. It looked good, but seemed too familiar, almost like a Ubisoft game. However, it turned out to be much more. The unique setting and the guiding wind system, which replaces traditional waypoints, allow you to immerse yourself fully in the world without constantly staring at a map. One of the key strengths of Ghost of Tsushima is its lack of repetitive tasks. Each open world objective feels distinct, pushing you to use different skills and strategies. Whether it's stealth, samurai combat, or even composing haikus, every activity feels fresh and meaningful. The combat system is another highlight. It uses a stance-based system where you switch between different stances to counter various enemies. This adds depth and variety to the battles, making each encounter exciting and strategic. While the camera can be a bit tricky at times, the overall combat experience is top-notch. Ghost of Tsushima stands out for its beauty, mechanics, and ability to deeply immerse you in its world. If you haven't played it yet, it's definitely worth your time in 2024. This game offers an experience that feels both fresh and profoundly engaging. The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Now, this is one of those games on our list of immersive open-world games everyone needs to play is the Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Skyrim drops you into the vast, snowy land of Skyrim, where you can do almost anything you want. You can become a powerful warrior, a sneaky thief, or a master wizard. The world is full of fascinating places to explore, from towering mountains to dark, eerie caves. One of the best things about Skyrim is how alive it feels. NPCs have their own routines, animals roam freely, and dragons can attack at any moment. The environment changes with dynamic weather and stunning landscapes that make you feel like you're really in another world. The main story is epic, but there are also countless side quests, each with its own story. You might find yourself helping a small village, joining a guild, or even becoming a vampire. The choices are endless, and they all make the world feel rich and immersive. Skyrim also lets you customize your character in almost any way you want. You can craft weapons, brew potions, and even buy a house. Every playthrough can be different, offering new adventures and experiences each time. If you love adventure and exploration, Skyrim is a game you can't miss. Its rich world and endless possibilities will keep you hooked for hours.
You get to the Cloud
Oh,
District
no.
very... Oh no!
By the
By the gods!
This can't
be happening!
Victory is yours. I submit.
Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Maldigo el día en que alguien inventó esa receta.
Next on our list is Assassin's Creed Black Flag, a game that takes you on a thrilling adventure through the Caribbean during the golden age of piracy. You play as Edward Kenway, a charismatic pirate and assassin who navigates treacherous waters and uncovers hidden secrets. What makes Black Flag so immersive is its incredible open world. The Caribbean is beautifully rendered with crystal clear waters, bustling port cities, and dense jungles. The game's attention to detail is astounding, making every island and ship feel unique and alive. One of the standout features is the naval combat. You command your own ship, the Jackdaw, which you can upgrade and customize, sailing the high seas, engaging in epic ship battles, and discovering uncharted islands give you a true sense of freedom and adventure. The seamless transition between sea and land exploration keeps the gameplay dynamic and exciting. The story is also gripping, filled with memorable characters and intriguing twists. As you progress, you'll uncover ancient artifacts, battle rival pirates, and navigate the complex world of the Assassins and Templars. The mix of historical events and fictional storytelling keeps you engaged from start to finish. Beyond the main story, there's plenty to do. You can hunt for treasure, dive for sunken loot, and even hunt legendary sea creatures. Each activity adds depth to the world and gives you more reasons to explore. If you've ever dreamed of being a pirate, Assassin's Creed Black Flag is the game for you. Its vast, open world and engaging gameplay make it one of the most immersive open world games out there. Set sail and experience the life of a pirate in this unforgettable adventure. Mad Max. Next up on our list is Mad Max, an open world game that throws you into the harsh, post-apocalyptic wasteland. You play as Max Rockatansky, a lone warrior trying to survive in a brutal world where resources are scarce and danger lurks around every corner. What makes Mad Max so immersive is its gritty, detailed world. The wasteland is vast and varied, filled with desolate deserts, eerie abandoned structures, and treacherous canyons. The environment is not just a backdrop, but a living, breathing part of the game. Sandstorms can whip up at any moment, and the day-night cycle adds to the sense of realism. Vehicle combat is a highlight in Mad Max. You'll spend a lot of time driving, and the game makes it incredibly fun. You can customize your car with a variety of upgrades from armor to weapons. Engaging in high-speed chases and explosive car battles against enemy convoys is thrilling and adds a unique twist to the open-world genre. On foot, combat is brutal and satisfying. Max uses a mix of melee and ranged attacks to take down foes. The combat system is fluid and responsive, making every fight feel intense and rewarding. Exploration is also a key part of the experience. Scavenging for resources, finding hidden loot, and taking down enemy strongholds are just a few of the activities that keep you busy. Each discovery feels rewarding and adds to the depth of the world. Mad Max is a game that excels in creating a sense of place and atmosphere. Its immersive world and action-packed gameplay make it a must-play for fans of open-world adventures. If you're looking for a game that captures the gritty, desperate struggle for survival in a beautifully crafted wasteland, Mad Max is a perfect choice. Dragon Age Inquisition. Next on our list is Dragon Age Inquisition, an epic open-world RPG that takes you on a grand adventure through the land of Thetis. You play as the Inquisitor, a chosen hero tasked with saving the world from a deadly rift in the sky and uniting a fractured land. What makes Dragon Age Inquisition so immersive is its rich, detailed world. Thetis is vast and varied, with lush forests, arid deserts, and towering mountains. Each region is beautifully crafted and filled with secrets to uncover, making exploration a true delight. The story is deeply engaging and filled with complex characters. As the Inquisitor, you'll assemble a diverse team of companions, each with their own backstories, personalities, and quests. The interactions with your companions and the choices you make throughout the game significantly impact the story, making it feel personal and meaningful. The game's narrative is driven by your decisions. You shape the fate of Thetis through dialogue choices, alliances, and strategic decisions. This branching storyline ensures that each playthrough can be different, offering a high degree of replayability. Combat in Dragon Age Inquisition is tactical and satisfying. You can control each member of your party, giving commands in real time or pausing the action to plan your moves. The variety of classes and abilities allows for deep customization and strategic gameplay. Whether you prefer up-close melee combat, ranged attacks, or powerful magic, there's a playstyle to suit everyone. The Inquisition itself is a unique feature. As you progress, you build and manage your own stronghold, making decisions that affect the game's world. Sending agents on missions, crafting powerful gear, and upgrading your base add layers of strategy and immersion. Dragon Age Inquisition also shines in its side content. There are countless side quests, hidden treasures, and lore to discover. Each side mission feels meaningful, often revealing more about the world and its inhabitants. If you're looking for a game that combines deep storytelling, rich character development, and a beautifully crafted world, Dragon Age Inquisition is a must-play. Its immersive experience and engaging gameplay make it one of the best open-world RPGs out there. Mafia 2.
I will shoot you! In pursuit of our suspect, we're taking him down! Copy that.
Last game on our list is Mafia 2, a game that takes you deep into the gritty world of organized crime in the 1940s and 1950s. You play as Vito Scaletta, a war veteran who gets drawn into the Mafia's dangerous and glamorous life to pay off his family's debts. The game excels in creating an immersive atmosphere. Empire Bay, the fictional city where the game is set, feels alive and authentic. The city's detailed architecture, vintage cars, and period-appropriate music bring the post-war era to life. Whether it's the snowy streets in winter or the sunlit avenues in summer, every corner of the city is beautifully crafted. The story is gripping and well-written. It's a tale of loyalty, betrayal, and the rise and fall within the Mafia. Vito's journey is filled with dramatic twists and emotional moments. The characters are well-developed and the voice acting is top-notch, making the narrative deeply engaging. You'll meet a variety of intriguing characters, each adding depth to the story. Gameplay in Mafia 2 combines driving, shooting, and exploration. The driving mechanics are smooth, and the cars handle realistically, adding to the immersion. The gunfights are intense and satisfying with a cover system that keeps the action strategic. The missions are varied and keep you engaged, from high-speed chases to intense shootouts and stealthy infiltrations. One of the standout features is the game's attention to detail. The period-accurate clothing, advertisements, and radio broadcasts all contribute to the sense of time and place. Exploring the city and its diverse neighborhoods is a joy, and there are plenty of hidden collectibles that reveal more about the world and its history. Mafia 2 also does a great job with its pacing. The game blends action-packed sequences with quieter, story-driven moments, allowing you to fully appreciate the narrative and the world around you. If you're looking for an open-world game with a strong narrative and an authentic period setting, Mafia 2 is a must-play. Its combination of engaging storytelling, detailed world-building, and varied gameplay makes it a standout title. Dying Light. First up on our list of 10 addictive games you'll lose track of time to is Dying Light. This game will pull you in with its thrilling action and keep you playing for hours. In Dying Light, you play as Kyle Crane, a secret agent sent into a city overrun by zombies. The city is huge and open for you to explore. During the day, you gather supplies, craft weapons, and fight zombies. But when night falls, the game gets even more intense. Stronger, scarier zombies come out, and you have to be extra careful. The game's parkour movement is amazing. You can run, jump, and climb all over the city. This makes getting away from zombies and exploring the rooftops a lot of fun. You'll spend hours just running around and discovering new places. The combat is exciting too. You can use all kinds of weapons from bats to swords to guns. You can also craft your own weapons with things you find, making them stronger and more effective. Fighting zombies is always thrilling and keeps you on your toes. Dying Light also has a lot of missions and side quests. Each one is different and interesting, making you want to keep playing to see what happens next. The story is engaging and the characters you meet add depth to the game. The day-night cycle in Dying Light really adds to the game's addictiveness. The game changes so much at night that it feels like you're playing two different games. Surviving the night is a real challenge and gives you a great sense of accomplishment. If you love action-packed games with a mix of exploration, combat, and survival, Dying Light is perfect for you. You'll lose track of time as you get caught up in the thrill of surviving in a city full of zombies.
All units report. Opening fire.
Cyberpunk 2077. Next on our list is Cyberpunk 2077. This game will draw you in with its massive open world and endless possibilities. In Cyberpunk, you play as V, a mercenary in the futuristic city of Night City. The city is huge and full of life, with neon lights, bustling streets, and a dark underworld. You can customize your character and make choices that affect the story and the world around you. The main story is gripping, filled with twists, action, and memorable characters. It keeps you hooked, making you want to see what happens next. But it's not just the main story that's addictive. Night City is packed with side missions, gigs, and activities. Each district has its own vibe and secrets to uncover. You'll find yourself spending hours exploring the city, finding new quests, and getting lost in the detailed world. The combat and gameplay are also a big part of what makes Cyberpunk 2077 so addictive. You can choose from a wide range of weapons and cybernetic enhancements to suit your playstyle. Whether you prefer stealth, hacking, or all-out combat, the game lets you play the way you want. The variety of options keeps the gameplay fresh and exciting. The world building in Cyberpunk is also top-notch. The city feels alive with dynamic weather, day-night cycles, and NPCs going about their daily lives. The attention to detail is incredible, making Night City a place you'll want to keep exploring. Cyberpunk also has a deep customization system. You can change your appearance, upgrade your skills, and modify your weapons and gear. This allows you to create a unique character that fits your playstyle and makes the game feel personal. If you love open-world games with rich stories, deep customization, and endless exploration, Cyberpunk 2077 is a game you'll lose track of time playing. Dive into Night City and experience the future for yourself. It's a wild ride you won't want to end. Nioh 2. In Nioh 2, you take on the role of a half-human, half-yokai warrior navigating a brutal and mystical version of Japan's Sengoku period. This game is incredibly addictive, blending intense combat with deep RPG elements that will keep you playing for hours. The combat system in Nioh 2 is highly engaging and challenging. You can choose from a variety of weapons, each with its own unique moves and stances. Mastering these weapons and learning to switch between stances to take on different enemies keeps the combat fresh and exciting. The game also introduces yokai abilities, allowing you to use powerful supernatural attacks, adding another layer of strategy. Exploration in Nioh 2 is rewarding, with levels designed to encourage you to search every corner. You'll find hidden paths, powerful items, and tough enemies waiting to be defeated. The game's beautiful yet dangerous environments, from dark forests to ancient temples, are filled with secrets and surprises. The RPG elements are deep and satisfying. You can customize your character's appearance, stats, and abilities to suit your playstyle. The loot system is robust, offering a wide array of weapons and armor with different attributes. Finding and upgrading the best gear becomes an addictive loop as you strive to perfect your build. Nioh 2's story is intriguing, weaving together historical events with supernatural elements. You'll encounter a cast of interesting characters, both human and yokai, as you uncover the mysteries of your own past and the world around you. The narrative keeps you hooked as you progress through the game's challenging levels. The game also offers a cooperative multiplayer mode, allowing you to team up with friends or other players online. This adds a fun and social element to the game, making tough battles more manageable and exploration more enjoyable. Visually, Nioh 2 is stunning. The detailed environments and character designs, combined with the smooth animations and effects, create a visually immersive experience. The game's art style captures the eerie and mystical atmosphere of its setting perfectly. If you enjoy action-packed games with deep combat and RPG mechanics, Nioh 2 is a game you'll lose track of time playing. Its challenging gameplay, rich customization options, and captivating world will keep you hooked for hours. Monster Hunter World. Monster Hunter World is one of those games that will have you hooked for hours on end. You play as a hunter, exploring a vibrant, living world filled with giant monsters, and your main goal is to hunt these massive creatures and use their parts to craft better gear. The game starts with you arriving in the new world, a huge and diverse place with different ecosystems. You'll explore lush forests, scorching deserts, and frozen tundras, each filled with unique monsters and challenges. The environments are stunning and full of life, making exploration exciting. Hunting monsters is where the game truly shines. Each monster is like a boss fight with its own behavior and attack patterns. You need to study them, learn their weaknesses, and plan your strategy. The hunts are intense and thrilling, keeping you on your toes the whole time. The combat system is deep and satisfying. You can choose from a variety of weapons, each with its own playstyle. Whether you prefer swinging a massive sword, shooting with a bow, or slicing with dual blades, there's a weapon for everyone. The combos and special moves make every fight dynamic and engaging. Crafting and upgrading gear is a big part of the game. Every time you defeat a monster, you collect parts that you can use to create new weapons and armor. This loop of hunting, collecting, and upgrading is incredibly addictive. You always feel like you're getting stronger and ready to take on tougher challenges. The multiplayer aspect is fantastic. You can team up with friends or other players online to hunt monsters together. Cooperation and teamwork are key, especially when facing the game's toughest monsters. Hunting with friends makes the game even more enjoyable and adds a social element to the adventure. Monster Hunter World also has a lot of additional content, including events, new monsters, and expansions like Iceborne, which adds even more to explore and conquer. If you love action-packed games with deep combat systems and a rewarding progression loop, Monster Hunter World is a game you'll lose track of time playing. Hitman World of Assassination. Hitman World of Assassination is the perfect game for those who love stealth, strategy, and a bit of chaos. You step into the shoes of Agent 47, a professional assassin with a knack for creative problem solving. This game will have you hooked for hours as you plan and execute your missions with precision.
Anyone there?
The game offers a series of detailed, open-ended levels set in various exotic locations around the world. Each level is a sandbox where you can approach your targets in countless ways. Whether you choose to disguise yourself, set up elaborate traps, or go in guns blazing, the choice is yours. One of the most addictive aspects of Hitman is its replayability. Each mission can be completed in numerous ways, and the game rewards you for trying different strategies. You might spend hours mastering one level, learning every detail, and perfecting your approach. The sense of accomplishment when you pull off the perfect hit is incredibly satisfying. The levels are meticulously designed and full of opportunities. You'll find hidden passages, secret items, and unique disguises that allow you to get close to your targets undetected. The AI is smart and reacts to your actions, making every mission a dynamic puzzle to solve. The game's story is intriguing and ties all the missions together. While the main plot is compelling, the real fun comes from the individual stories within each mission. You'll encounter interesting characters and scenarios that add depth to the world and make each level feel like its own mini-drama. Hitman World of Assassination also features live content updates, including new targets, missions, and challenges. This keeps the game fresh and gives you new reasons to dive back in and test your skills. If you enjoy games that let you plan, strategize, and get creative with how you tackle challenges, Hitman World of Assassination is a game you'll lose track of time playing. The thrill of executing the perfect assassination, combined with the game's deep mechanics and replayability, makes it a must-play for stealth game enthusiasts. Get ready to become the ultimate assassin and explore a world of endless possibilities.
Someone out there is...
Returnal is a game that will have you completely engrossed with its intense action and captivating story. You play as Celine, a space explorer who crash lands on a mysterious, ever-changing alien planet. The game combines fast-paced combat with a deep, atmospheric narrative that will keep you hooked for hours. One of the most addictive aspects of Returnal is its roguelike structure. Every time you die, you wake up back at your crashed ship, but the world around you has changed. This keeps the gameplay fresh and challenging as you never know what to expect next. The levels are procedurally generated, so each run feels unique. Combat in Returnal is fast, fluid, and exhilarating. You'll face off against a variety of alien creatures, each with its own attack patterns and strategies. The game's controls are tight and responsive, making every battle feel intense and rewarding. You have a range of weapons and abilities at your disposal, and finding the right combination for your playstyle is key to surviving longer runs. Exploration is a big part of the game. The alien planet is filled with secrets, lore, and upgrades that help you piece together the story and improve your chances of survival. The visuals are stunning, with detailed environments and eerie, atmospheric lighting that create a sense of both wonder and dread. The story is another highlight. As you explore, you'll uncover fragments of Celine's past and the mysteries of the planet. The narrative is deeply engaging, blending sci-fi and psychological horror elements to create a haunting and immersive experience. But Returnal also features a compelling progression system. Even though you start over after each death, you can unlock permanent upgrades and abilities that carry over to your next run. This keeps you motivated to push forward and see how far you can get each time. If you love games that combine challenging gameplay with a rich, atmospheric story, Returnal is a game you'll lose track of time playing. Its blend of fast-paced combat, exploration, and roguelike elements creates an addictive loop that will keep you coming back for more. Nier Automata. Nier Automata is a game that will pull you in with its intriguing story, deep combat, and beautiful world. You play as 2B, an android soldier fighting in a war between machines and androids in a post-apocalyptic Earth. The game's mix of action, RPG elements, and philosophical themes will keep you playing for hours. The story in Nier Automata is layered and thought-provoking. As you progress, you uncover the mysteries of the world and the true nature of the conflict. The narrative explores themes like identity, consciousness, and what it means to be human. The game has multiple endings, each adding new layers to the story, encouraging you to replay it and see everything it has to offer. Combat is fast-paced and fluid. You can switch between melee and ranged attacks seamlessly using a variety of weapons and abilities. The game also features bullet hell elements, making battles chaotic and exciting. The controls are smooth and responsive, making every fight feel satisfying. The world of Nier Automata is stunning and filled with diverse environments, from ruined cities and lush forests to eerie deserts. Each area is beautifully crafted and filled with secrets and lore. Exploring the world is a joy, and you'll find plenty of side quests and hidden details that enrich the story. The game's soundtrack is another standout feature. The music is hauntingly beautiful and perfectly complements the game's emotional and atmospheric tone. It's one of those soundtracks that stays with you long after you've stopped playing. Nier Automata also offers a unique gameplay experience by blending different genres. You'll find sections of the game that switch to side-scrolling, top-down shooting, and even text-based adventure. This variety keeps the gameplay fresh and interesting. If you enjoy games with deep stories, engaging combat, and beautiful worlds, Nier Automata is a must-play. Its blend of action, RPG elements, and philosophical storytelling will keep you hooked for hours. the Saboteur. Alright, let's kick off our list of 10 great games no one bought with the Saboteur. This game flew under the radar for many, but it's a hidden gem worth checking out. In the Saboteur, you play as Sean Devlin, an Irish race car driver turned resistance fighter in Nazi-occupied France during World War II. The story is gripping, filled with action, revenge, and a personal vendetta against the Nazis. What makes the Saboteur stand out is its unique art style. The game starts in a bleak black and white Paris symbolizing the oppressive Nazi occupation. As you liberate areas and complete missions, color gradually returns, representing hope and freedom. It's a cool visual touch that makes your progress feel impactful. The gameplay is a mix of open world exploration, stealth, and combat. You can climb buildings, sneak past guards, and sabotage enemy operations. The game gives you a lot of freedom to approach missions in different ways, whether you prefer going in guns blazing or taking a more stealthy route. The world of the Saboteur is rich and detailed. Paris and the surrounding countryside are beautifully recreated, with plenty of iconic landmarks to see and explore. There are tons of side missions and collectibles that add to the game's depth and replayability. One of the best parts of the game is the variety of missions. You'll be doing everything from planting explosives and assassinating key targets to engaging in high-speed chases and rescuing prisoners. Each mission feels fresh and exciting, keeping you engaged throughout. Despite its unique style and engaging gameplay, the Saboteur didn't get the attention it deserved when it was released. It's a game that offers a lot of fun and excitement but flew under the radar for many players. If you're looking for an underrated game with a great story, unique visuals, and plenty of action, the Saboteur is a must-play. It's a fantastic adventure through a beautifully realized World War II setting that you'll thoroughly enjoy.
One day you'll have to tell me how you came by these scars.
The Surge. This game is a fantastic blend of action and RPG elements that didn't get the spotlight it deserved. In The Surge, you play as Warren, a new employee at a tech company called Creo. After a catastrophic event, you find yourself in a dystopian future filled with rogue robots and deranged ex-employees. The story is dark and intriguing, exploring themes of corporate greed and technological advancement gone wrong. What sets The Surge apart is its unique combat system. It's often compared to the Dark Souls series because of its challenging tactical combat, but The Surge adds its own twist with a focus on targeting specific body parts of enemies. You can choose to attack an enemy's armored parts to potentially gain new gear, or aim for unarmored spots for a quicker kill. It's a strategic layer that makes every fight engaging and rewarding. The game's world is industrial and gritty, with detailed environments that tell the story of Creo's downfall. Exploring the facility, you'll find hidden paths, shortcuts, and plenty of secrets that encourage thorough exploration. The level design is smart and interconnected, giving you a sense of progression as you unlock new areas. The Surge also has a deep crafting and upgrade system. As you defeat enemies, you can collect parts to upgrade your gear and craft new weapons. This adds a satisfying loop of combat, collection, and improvement that keeps you hooked. The gear you collect isn't just for show, it significantly impacts your playstyle and strategy in combat. The enemies in The Surge are varied and challenging. From smaller drones to massive, heavily armored foes, each encounter requires you to adapt and think on your feet. Boss battles are a highlight, offering intense multi-phase fights that test your skills and patience. Despite its solid gameplay and unique mechanics, The Surge didn't achieve mainstream success. It's a game that offers a lot of depth and challenge but didn't get the attention it deserved. If you're a fan of challenging action RPGs with a unique twist, The Surge is definitely worth playing. It's a hidden gem that combines strategic combat, deep customization, and an intriguing dystopian world. Give it a try, and you might find yourself hooked on its relentless and rewarding gameplay. Psychonauts. Alright, let's talk about Psychonauts, one of the quirkiest and most imaginative platformers you've probably never played. This gem, developed by Double Fine Productions, takes you on a wild ride inside the minds of some seriously eccentric characters. You play as Raz, a young psychic acrobat who runs away from the circus to join a summer camp for psychic spies in training. Sounds bonkers, right? Well, it totally is in the best way possible. Psychonauts is packed with creative level design, each one reflecting the inner world of a different character. You'll find yourself navigating everything from a giant board game to a twisted 1960s inspired mindscape. The humor is top-notch, with clever dialogue and bizarre scenarios that'll keep you entertained throughout. Now, you might be wondering if it's so good, why didn't it sell? Well, despite its critical acclaim, Psychonauts struggled with marketing and visibility upon its release in 2005. It was a bit ahead of its time and gamers just didn't know what to make of it back then. Plus, it launched on the original Xbox, which was still finding its footing in the market.
Oof. Raz, I'm sorry, but that's not how you...
But hey, it's never too late to dive into this cult classic. Whether you're looking for a game with a unique story, unforgettable characters, or just some good old-fashioned platforming fun, Psychonauts has got you covered. Give it a shot, and you'll see why it's a masterpiece that deserved way more love.
Thanks, man.
Okami. Alright, let's dive into Okami, a game that's like stepping into a beautiful watercolor painting. Developed by Clover Studio and released in 2006, Okami is an action-adventure game that's as visually stunning as it is unique. You play as Amaterasu, the Japanese sun goddess who takes the form of a white wolf. Your mission is to restore life and color to a world that's been overrun by darkness. What makes Okami so special is its incredible art style. The game looks like it's been drawn with traditional Japanese ink wash painting techniques, and it's truly breathtaking. The world is filled with lush landscapes, ancient temples, and vibrant villages, each more beautiful than the last. It's like every frame of the game could be hung on a wall as a piece of art. The gameplay is just as creative. You use a celestial brush to paint on the screen, which lets you perform various actions like slicing enemies, repairing the environment, and even changing the time of day. This brush mechanic is so intuitive and satisfying to use. It's like you're directly interacting with the world in a way that feels both natural and magical. I remember the first time I drew a bridge to cross a river, or made a tree bloom with a simple stroke. It was just pure joy, man. But Okami is more than just a pretty face. The story is deeply rooted in Japanese mythology and folklore, which gives it a rich cultural depth that's hard to find in many games. The characters you meet along the way are quirky and memorable, each with their own backstories and personalities that make the world feel alive. From the bumbling warrior Susanoo to the tiny but fierce Asun, your pint-sized companion, every interaction adds a layer of charm to the game. Despite its beauty and innovation, Okami didn't sell well initially. Released at the tail end of the PlayStation 2's life cycle, it was overshadowed by the excitement surrounding next-gen consoles. Plus, its unique style and gameplay didn't get the attention they deserved in a market dominated by more mainstream titles. It's a real shame because Okami is a game that deserves to be experienced by everyone. For me, playing Okami was like a breath of fresh air. It's not just a game, it's a work of art. The story is compelling, the music is enchanting, and the gameplay is engaging in a way that few games manage to achieve. If you're looking for something different, something that's both relaxing and exhilarating, Okami is a must-play. Trust me, you won't regret diving into this beautiful mythical world. Sunset Overdrive. Alright, let's talk about Sunset Overdrive, one of the most colorful and chaotic games you might have missed. Developed by Insomniac Games and released in 2014, this action-adventure game is an absolute blast. You play as a customizable character in the vibrant and crazy city of Sunset City, which has been overrun by mutants after a contaminated energy drink turns its consumers into monsters. Yeah, it's as wild as it sounds. One of the first things that grabs you about Sunset Overdrive is its style. The game is bursting with bright colors and has a punk rock aesthetic that's super refreshing. It doesn't take itself too seriously, which is a big part of its charm. The humor is on point, filled with tongue-in-cheek jokes and pop culture references that'll keep you laughing as you play. But what really sets Sunset Overdrive apart is its gameplay. It's all about movement. You grind on rails, bounce off cars, and wall run like some kind of caffeine-fueled superhero. The traversal is so smooth and satisfying that you'll find yourself moving just for the fun of it. And then there's the combat. It's fast, frenetic, and ridiculously over the top. You've got a crazy arsenal of weapons, from explosive teddy bears to vinyl record launchers, each more insane than the last. Despite all these awesome features, Sunset Overdrive didn't sell as well as it deserved. Released exclusively for the Xbox One at a time when the console was struggling against its competitors, the game didn't get the audience it needed. Plus, its zany style and over-the-top action might have been a bit too much for some players. Personally, I think Sunset Overdrive is one of the most fun games I've ever played. It's like the developers just wanted to create a game that was pure, unadulterated fun, and they nailed it. The story is wild, the characters are memorable, and the gameplay is so exhilarating that it's hard to put down. If you're tired of the same old, and want something that's bursting with creativity and energy, give Sunset Overdrive a shot. You won't be disappointed.
In 2072, a rogue artificial intelligence known as
System Shock 2. A game that's a true classic but sadly flew under many gamers' radars. Developed by Irrational Games and Looking Glass Studios and released in 1999, this first-person action RPG is a masterclass in atmosphere, storytelling, and gameplay. In System Shock 2, you find yourself aboard the Starship Von Braun, which has been overrun by a deadly alien presence and rogue AI. You play as a soldier who wakes up from cryosleep to find the ship in chaos. From the moment you step into the game, you're immersed in a creepy, claustrophobic environment that keeps you on edge. The blend of sci-fi, horror, and RPG elements is executed brilliantly, making every corner you turn feel like a new challenge or a potential scare. What sets System Shock 2 apart is its deep and complex gameplay. The game combines RPG mechanics with survival horror, which means you'll be managing your resources carefully, upgrading your skills, and making tough decisions on the fly. The progression system is incredibly satisfying, allowing you to customize your character in ways that suit your playstyle, whether that's hacking security systems, engaging in combat, or using psionic powers. The story, driven by the sinister AI Shodan, is gripping and keeps you hooked from start to finish. Shodan is one of the most memorable villains in gaming history, and her chilling voice and twisted plans make for a truly compelling antagonist. The narrative unfolds through audio logs and environmental storytelling, which was revolutionary at the time and adds a layer of immersion that's hard to beat. Despite its groundbreaking design and critical acclaim, System Shock 2 didn't achieve commercial success upon its release. Part of the reason was its timing. It launched during a period of intense competition and was somewhat overshadowed by other big titles. Additionally, its complex mechanics and challenging gameplay might have been intimidating to some players. For me, System Shock 2 is a game that every fan of sci-fi or horror should experience. It's a game that rewards exploration, critical thinking, and careful planning. The atmosphere is thick with tension, the story is captivating, and the gameplay is deep and rewarding. If you've never played it, you're in for a treat. It's a game that has influenced countless others and remains a shining example of how to do survival horror right.
My fellow kindred.
Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. Alright, let's sink our teeth into Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, a game that's as dark and complex as the world it's set in. Developed by Tracade Games and released in 2004, this action RPG plunges you into the seedy underbelly of vampire society in Los Angeles. You play as a newly turned vampire navigating the treacherous politics and supernatural dangers of the night. One of the most striking things about Bloodlines is its deep and immersive world. Based on the tabletop role-playing game, the game faithfully recreates the gothic punk atmosphere of the source material. The city is divided into several hubs, each with its own distinct vibe and secrets waiting to be uncovered. The characters you meet are incredibly well written and voiced, adding layers of intrigue and drama to the story. The gameplay in Bloodlines is a blend of first-person and third-person perspectives, allowing for a mix of combat, stealth, and dialogue. You can choose from different vampire clans, each with unique abilities and powers that drastically affect your playstyle. Whether you're charming your way through conversations as a Toreador or wreaking havoc with brute strength as a Bruja, the game offers a lot of freedom in how you approach its challenges. The story is another highlight. It's filled with twists, moral dilemmas, and memorable characters. The choices you make have significant consequences, leading to multiple endings and ensuring that no two playthroughs are exactly the same. It's a narrative-driven experience that pulls you in and doesn't let go. Despite its brilliance, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines was plagued by a troubled development and released with numerous bugs and technical issues. This, coupled with poor marketing and the dominance of other big titles at the time, led to disappointing sales. However, the game's passionate fanbase has since patched many of the bugs, and it's now considered a cult classic. For me, playing Bloodlines was an unforgettable experience. The atmosphere, the story, the characters, everything comes together to create a game that feels genuinely unique. It's dark, it's gritty, and it's filled with moments that'll stay with you long after you've put the controller down. If you're a fan of vampires, RPGs, or just great storytelling, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is a game you need to play. It may not have been a commercial success, but it's a masterpiece in its own right.
Some of them call me
Enslaved Odyssey to the West. Alright, let's talk about Enslaved Odyssey to the West, a game that beautifully blends action, storytelling, and a post-apocalyptic setting. Developed by Ninja Theory and released in 2010, this game takes you on an epic journey inspired by the ancient Chinese novel Journey to the West. You play as Monkey, a strong and agile warrior who's teamed up with Trip, a tech-savvy young woman, as they navigate a dangerous world filled with hostile robots and crumbling ruins. One of the first things that strikes you about Enslaved is its stunning visuals. The game's world is a vibrant, overgrown dystopia where nature has reclaimed the remnants of human civilization. It's both beautiful and haunting, with detailed environments that draw you into the story. The character design is equally impressive, with motion capture performances that bring Monkey and Trip to life in a way that feels real and emotionally engaging. The gameplay is a mix of platforming, combat, and puzzle solving. Monkey's agility allows you to climb and swing through the environment with ease, while his combat skills let you take on groups of enemies with fluid and satisfying moves. Trip, on the other hand, provides tech support, hacking into systems, and offering strategic advice. The dynamic between the two characters adds depth to the gameplay, as you need to rely on each other to survive.
Are you okay?
The story is another standout aspect of Enslaved. It's a character-driven narrative that explores themes of freedom, trust, and survival. The relationship between Monkey and Trip evolves throughout the game, with excellent voice acting and writing that make their journey compelling.
Oh, I'm so horrible, I can feel it breathing! Come on! Monkey's right there, it's coming!
Despite its strengths, Enslaved Odyssey to the west didn't achieve the commercial success it deserved. Released during a crowded fall season, it was overshadowed by other major titles. Additionally, its unique blend of gameplay and storytelling may not have immediately appealed to a broad audience. For me, Enslaved is one of those hidden gems that truly deserves more recognition. It's a game that combines beautiful visuals, engaging gameplay, and a heartfelt story in a way that few games manage to do. If you're looking for an adventure that's both thrilling and emotionally resonant, give Enslaved Odyssey to the West a try. The Evil Within 2. Alright, let's talk about The Evil Within 2. This game, developed by Tango Gameworks and released in 2017, is all about survival horror. You play as Sebastian Castellanos, a former detective who's had a pretty rough time. He lost his daughter but gets a chance to save her, which means diving back into a creepy alternate reality called STEM, filled with all sorts of nasty creatures and psychological terrors. First off, this game nails the horror vibe. The environments are super eerie, think abandoned towns and otherworldly nightmares. It's not just about running and gunning though. You have to be smart with your resources because ammo is limited. Sometimes it's better to sneak past enemies than to confront them head on. This makes every encounter feel tense and strategic. The semi-open world structure is a nice touch. You can explore different areas, looking for supplies and uncovering secrets. The game also lets you upgrade Sebastian and his gear so you can play the way you want. The controls and mechanics feel solid, making both combat and stealth satisfying. The story is pretty gripping too. Sebastian's quest to save his daughter adds a lot of emotional weight to the game. There are plenty of twists and turns to keep you hooked, and the characters are well developed. Despite being such a great game, The Evil Within 2 didn't get the attention it deserved when it came out. It was released around the same time as a bunch of other big games, and the first game had mixed reviews, which probably didn't help. For me, The Evil Within 2 is a standout horror game. It's not just about cheap scares, it builds a creepy atmosphere that keeps you on edge. If you're into horror games or just want something that'll keep you glued to your screen, you've got to give this one a try. It's one of those hidden gems that'll stay with you long after you finish playing. Prey. Alright, let's chat about Prey, a game that's all about exploring, surviving, and a whole lot of weirdness. Developed by Arcane Studios and released in 2017, this first-person shooter is set on a space station called Talos I, where things have gone horribly wrong. You play as Morgan Yu, a scientist trying to figure out what the heck happened while dealing with some seriously creepy alien creatures called the Typhon.
First, you need to get out of your apartment building. You're not safe.
First off, Prey looks amazing. The Art Deco design of Talos I is both stylish and eerie, creating a unique atmosphere that pulls you in from the get-go. The space station feels like a real place with its own history, filled with nooks and crannies to explore. And trust me, you'll want to explore every inch because there's so much to find, from hidden rooms to personal logs that tell the stories of the station's crew. The gameplay is where Prey really shines. It's got this cool mix of action, stealth, and RPG elements. You can choose how to tackle each situation, whether you want to go in guns blazing, sneak around, or use your brain to solve problems. The Typhon enemies are super interesting, especially the mimics that can disguise themselves as everyday objects. It keeps you on your toes because you never know if that coffee cup is really a coffee cup. You also get a bunch of powers and upgrades through something called neuromods, which let you develop abilities from hacking and repair to some freaky alien powers. It's all about finding your playstyle and experimenting with different approaches. The story is another big win for Prey. It's full of mystery and intrigue with plenty of twists to keep you guessing. As you uncover more about the Typhon and the events leading up to the disaster on Talos I, you get deeper into the narrative, which is both gripping and thought-provoking. Plus, the game offers multiple endings based on your choices, giving it some solid replay value. Despite all these great features, Prey didn't get the love it deserved when it launched. It came out at a time when other big titles were dominating the scene and it kind of got lost in the shuffle. But it's definitely a game worth checking out. Prey is one of those underrated gems that offers a rich, immersive experience. It's a game that rewards curiosity and creativity, making you think about every move you make. If you're into sci-fi horror or just love a good story with deep gameplay mechanics, you need to play Prey. It's a fantastic ride that'll keep you hooked from start to finish. Wolfenstein: The New Order. Alright, let's talk about Wolfenstein: The New Order. This game is seriously awesome and doesn't get enough love. You play as BJ Blazkowicz, a soldier fighting against the Nazis in a world where they won World War II. The story is super engaging with lots of twists and turns that keep you hooked. You really want to see what happens next. Plus, BJ is a tough guy with a good heart, which makes him easy to root for. You get to use all sorts of cool weapons, and the combat is really smooth. 1 minute you're in a full-on firefight, and the next you're sneaking around trying to take down enemies quietly. It keeps things fresh and exciting. What's great about this game is how it's linear, but in a good way. You always know where to go, so you can focus on enjoying the story and action without getting lost. The levels are well designed, and there's always something new to see or do. The game looks great too. The graphics are sharp, and the environments are detailed. Whether you're in a high-tech Nazi base or a ruined city, everything looks amazing. The sound and music also really add to the atmosphere. Wolfenstein: The New Order didn't get the attention it deserved when it came out. It's got an awesome story, fun gameplay, and looks fantastic. If you're into action-packed games with a great plot, you should definitely check it out. Titanfall 2. Let's talk about Titanfall 2. This game is an absolute gem and often gets overlooked. You play as Jack Cooper, a rifleman who ends up piloting a big badass mech called BT-7274.
This will be useful in direct combat. First floor ready.
The bond between Jack and BT is one of the coolest parts of the game. The story is really engaging, it's a mix of action and heart, and you get to experience some fantastic moments. The campaign is filled with epic battles, clever puzzles, and some really innovative level design. There's one level where you mess with time travel and it's just mind-blowing.
Reminder, identification credentials must be displayed at all times.
The gameplay is super smooth. You've got these awesome parkour moves like wall running and double jumping, which make moving around so much fun. And then there's the net combat, it's intense and satisfying. Switching between on foot action and piloting BT keeps things exciting. The game's graphics are top-notch. The environments are varied and beautifully designed, from lush forests to futuristic facilities. The sound design is also great, with the roar of your Titan and the blast of your weapons adding to the immersive experience. Titanfall 2 has one of the best single-player campaigns in a first-person shooter. It's packed with memorable moments and creative gameplay mechanics. If you're looking for an underrated game that combines fast-paced action with a great story, you need to check out Titanfall 2. It's a ride you won't forget.
Shield online. The Vortex Shield catches incoming rounds and missiles. Release the button to launch any captured objects back at the enemy.
Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Alright, let's dive into Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. This game is a real hidden gem. You get to play as Star-Lord and lead the quirky and lovable Guardians of the Galaxy crew.
It feels like they're everywhere, laughing at us!
The story is fantastic and full of heart. It really captures the spirit of the Guardians with a mix of humor, action, and emotional moments. The banter between the characters is spot on, and their relationships feel genuine. You'll find yourself laughing one moment and getting misty-eyed the next. Playing the game is super fun. You control Star-Lord and can tell the other Guardians what to do during fights, which adds a cool strategy element. Each Guardian has their own special moves, so you can mix things up. The action is fast and keeps you on your toes. You also get to explore different planets, each one looking unique and interesting. There are puzzles to solve and secrets to find, which keeps things exciting. The game looks amazing, with vibrant colors and lots of detail. The soundtrack is packed with 80s hits that really add to the fun vibe. What I love most is how well the game captures the essence of the Guardians. The characters are well written and feel true to their comic book selves. The voice acting is top-notch, making each character come alive.
I cannot wait to meet our monster.
I thought you were mostly interested in meeting the buyer.
She is a respectable collector.
Is it working?
Yeah, don't worry, Sunshine.
Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy didn't get as much attention as it deserves. It's got a great story, fun gameplay, and fantastic characters. If you're a fan of the Guardians or just looking for a really enjoyable game, you should definitely give it a try. It's a wild, emotional ride that you won't want to miss.
Once the thumpers are placed, we'll meet in the middle and we'll capture the monster. Together.
Quantum Break. Alright, let's talk about Quantum Break. This game is seriously underrated and offers a unique mix of action and storytelling. You play as Jack Joyce, who gets some pretty wild time manipulation powers after a science experiment goes wrong. The story is super engaging. It's all about time travel, conspiracies, and a big evil corporation. What's really cool is how the game blends gameplay with live action episodes. Yep, you heard that right. After you play through a section, you get to watch a live action episode that shows you more about what's happening with the other characters. It's like playing a game and watching a TV show at the same time.
We can't risk any unwanted attention. Convince the witnesses not to talk. Keep eyes on them and send them home. Initialize a PR campaign.
The gameplay is a blast. With your time powers, you can do all sorts of crazy things like freezing enemies, dodging bullets, and even creating a shield. The combat is fast and feels really fresh because you're always figuring out new ways to use your powers. Plus, the environments are super detailed and look amazing, which makes all the action even more fun. Visually, Quantum Break is stunning. The graphics are top-notch, and the way the game handles the time manipulation effects is really impressive. The environments change and shift in such cool ways, making every level feel dynamic and alive. The characters are another highlight. Jack Joyce is a great lead, and you really start to care about him and his fight against the bad guys. The acting is solid across the board, and the live action segments add a lot of depth to the story. Quantum Break is a game that didn't get as much attention as it deserved. It's got a gripping story, innovative gameplay, and fantastic visuals. If you're looking for something different that combines action with a great narrative, you should definitely check it out. It's a thrilling ride from start to finish, and you won't want to put it down.
It was you, the first experiment.
Metro 2033. This game is a hidden gem that deserves more attention. You play as Artyom, a young man living in the underground metro tunnels of Moscow after a nuclear apocalypse. The story is dark, gripping, and full of suspense. The game's world is really unique. The metro tunnels are creepy and atmospheric, filled with mutants, hostile humans, and all sorts of dangers. The developers did an amazing job making you feel like you're really there. The environments are detailed, and the lighting and sound design add a lot to the mood. It's dark and gritty, making every step feel intense. Gameplay is a mix of survival horror and first-person shooting. Ammo is scarce, so you have to be smart about how you use it. There's a lot of sneaking around and using stealth to avoid or take down enemies quietly. The combat is tense, and every encounter feels like a struggle for survival. You also have to manage your resources carefully, like gas masks and filters, to survive the toxic surface areas. The story of Metro games are engaging and emotional. Artyom's journey takes him through different parts of the Metro, meeting various factions and characters, each with their own stories and struggles. The narrative is driven by the people you meet and the choices you make, which can lead to different endings.
Welcome to Exhibition Hunter.
Visually, Metro 2033 is impressive, especially considering when it was released. The Metro tunnels feel claustrophobic and eerie, while the surface is desolate and hauntingly beautiful. The game's attention to detail really pulls you into its world. Metro 2033 is a game that didn't get as much spotlight as it should have. It's got a compelling story, immersive atmosphere, and challenging gameplay. If you're into survival horror or post-apocalyptic settings, this game is a must-play. It's an unforgettable journey through a dark, dangerous world that keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Much worse. Dark ones. Well, whatever in hell they are.
The Order 1886.
Galahad, take cover!
Let's talk about The Order 1886. This game often flies under the radar, but it's really something special. You play as Sir Galahad, a knight in a secret order that protects humanity from supernatural threats in an alternate history Victorian London. The story is what really grabs you. It's like playing through a blockbuster movie. The game is packed with rich lore, combining historical elements with fantastical creatures and advanced steampunk technology. The narrative is full of intrigue, betrayal, and mystery, keeping you hooked from start to finish. The graphics were ahead of their time with incredibly detailed character models, realistic lighting, and beautifully crafted environments. The game's version of Victorian London is dark, atmospheric, and incredibly immersive. It feels like you're stepping into a living, breathing world.
The plague of lichen infestation that has infected our city will only grow more intolerable.
Gameplay is a mix of third-person shooting, exploration, and quick-time events. The shooting mechanics are solid with a variety of unique weapons that fit the steampunk setting. The game's combat is satisfying, though it's the story and the world that keep you coming back. One of the standout features is the seamless integration of gameplay and cinematic cutscenes. There's no jarring transition between playing and watching, which makes the whole experience feel fluid and immersive.
When the noble Arthur sought to contest for truage with the Roman Emperor Lucius, he did not trouble himself with issues of jurisdiction. Do not presume to quote history to me, Sir Percival.
While The Order 1886 got some flack for its linear structure and relatively short length, it excels in delivering a tightly paced, visually spectacular, and emotionally engaging experience. It's like a roller coaster ride, intense, thrilling, and over too soon, but definitely worth it. If you're looking for a game that combines a compelling story with gorgeous visuals and solid gameplay, The Order 1886 is definitely worth checking out. It's a unique blend of history, fantasy, and action that offers a memorable cinematic experience.
A word.
Tell me, monsieur, about the Lord Chancellor.
What is it, Marquis?
Gears of War.
For a time, the humans of Serra knew the...
Alright, let's chat about Gears of War. This game is a classic and deserves way more attention than it sometimes gets. You play as Marcus Phoenix, a tough-as-nails soldier fighting against a brutal enemy known as the Locust Horde. The story kicks off with a bang. You're thrown right into the action, and it doesn't let up. It's set in a war-torn world where humanity is on the brink of extinction. Marcus and his squad, Delta Team, are humanity's last hope. The narrative is intense, full of epic battles and personal sacrifices. You really get to know and care about the characters as you play. The gameplay is where Gears of War really shines. It introduced the cover-based shooting mechanic that many games use today. You duck behind cover, pop out to take shots, and move strategically through the battlefield. The combat is visceral and satisfying with a mix of brutal melee attacks and powerful firearms. The chainsaw bayonet is iconic and incredibly fun to use. The game's pacing is excellent. It balances intense firefights with quieter moments where you can explore and soak in the atmosphere. The environments are varied, from destroyed cities to underground caverns, keeping things fresh and interesting. The graphics were top-notch for its time, with detailed character models in gritty, immersive settings.
You the Marcus Phoenix? The one who fought at Asfield Fields?
Yep.
Wow, cool!
Gears of War is a game that has left a lasting legacy. It's intense, engaging, and incredibly fun to play. If you're into action-packed shooters with a strong story and memorable characters, you've got to check it out. The Wolf Among Us.
A message? I
Let's talk about The Wolf Among Us. This game is a real hidden gem. You play as Bigby Wolf, the sheriff of Fabletown, a place in New York City where fairy tale characters live in the real world. The story is amazing. It's like a detective movie where you have to solve a murder. As you play, you find out all sorts of secrets about the people in Fabletown. The story has lots of twists and keeps you interested the whole time.
Have more to offer. Get our ducks in a row. Oh, Crane doesn't like people smoking and...
The characters are what make this game special. You meet fairy tale characters, but they are different from what you remember. They have real life problems and interesting personalities. Bigby, the main character, is really cool because he has a dark past, but is trying to do good.
What's it say about that?
It says Bricklebit in an older elvish hand.
The game is all about making choices. What you decide changes the story and how people react to you. Sometimes the choices are really hard and there's no easy answer. This makes you want to play again to see what happens if you make different choices. The way the game looks is really cool. It's like playing a comic book with bright colors and lots of details. The places you visit are full of atmosphere, whether it's a bar or an old apartment. The voices in the game are great. The actors make the characters feel real and interesting. The sounds and music also help make the game feel like a detective story.
You two need to get a handle on this situation quickly and quietly.
The Wolf Among Us is a game that more people should know about. It has a great story, cool characters, and a unique look. If you like games where the story and your choices matter, you should definitely play this one. It's an exciting and fun experience that you won't forget.
Where is the bottle of wine you were to purchase?
A Plague Tale Innocence. Let's talk about A Plague Tale Innocence. This game is a hidden treasure. You play as a young girl trying to protect her little brother Hugo during a terrible time in medieval France.
Hugo, follow me. Now.
The story is gripping. It's about survival, family, and courage. The siblings have to escape from soldiers and avoid deadly rats spreading the plague. Their journey is full of danger and emotion, and you really care about what happens to them.
Don't stop!
The gameplay is a mix of sneaking around, solving puzzles, and some action. You have to be smart and use your surroundings to stay hidden from enemies. The rats are a big threat, and you need to use light to keep them away. It's tense and keeps you on your toes.
We can't let them catch us!
As for the graphics, the game looks beautiful. The environments are detailed and realistic, showing the dark and scary world Amisha and Hugo live in. The visuals are top-notch, making everything feel very real. Plague Tale Innocence is a game that deserves more attention. It has a powerful story, engaging gameplay, and stunning visuals. If you enjoy games with deep stories and emotional journeys, you should definitely check it out. It's an unforgettable experience that will stay with you long after you finish playing.
3.
Hi-Fi Rush. Alright, let's talk about Hi-Fi Rush. This game is a hidden gem that's all about rhythm and fun. You play as Chai, a rock star in a colorful, music-filled world. The story is lighthearted and entertaining. Chai finds himself in a strange place where everything moves to the beat of the music. He decides to become a hero and takes on a big corporation that's up to no good. It's quirky and full of charm.
That's the defect? Looks suspicious. Could be.
Aimplay is where Hi-Fi Rush really shines. It's a rhythm-based action game where you fight enemies to the beat of the music. The better you time your moves, the more powerful your attacks. It's like playing a mix of a rhythm game and a fighting game, and it's super satisfying. The graphics are bright and colorful. The whole game looks like a vibrant animated music video. The characters are fun and full of personality, and the world is just a joy to look at. The music is a huge part of the game. The soundtrack is packed with catchy tunes that make you want to move. Each level has its own music, and it's all perfectly synced to the action. You'll find yourself bobbing your head and tapping your foot as you play.
I can see that.
Hi-Fi Rush is one of those games that just makes you happy. It's fun, energetic, and full of life. If you love music and action games, this one is a must-play. It's a unique and joyful experience that's sure to put a smile on your face. Yakuza Series. Alright, let's talk about the Yakuza series, a collection of games that's perfect for anyone who loves deep stories, intense action, and a whole lot of side activities to keep you busy for well over 100 hours. The Yakuza series takes you into the heart of Japan's criminal underworld. You primarily play as Kazuma Kiryu, a tough-as-nails Yakuza with a heart of gold. The main storyline is full of drama, betrayal, and some truly memorable characters. Each game weaves an intricate tale that's both emotional and thrilling, pulling you deep into the lives of the characters. One of the biggest draws of the Yakuza series is its combat system. The fighting is fast-paced and brutal, with a variety of styles and moves to master. You can pick up and use anything as a weapon, from bicycles to signboards, which makes for some pretty wild and entertaining battles. And as you progress, you can upgrade your abilities and unlock new moves, keeping the combat fresh and exciting. But what really sets the Yakuza series apart is the sheer amount of stuff you can do outside of the main story. The cities you explore, like Kamurocho, are packed with activities. You can play arcade games, go bowling, sing karaoke, participate in dance battles, and even manage a cabaret club. These side activities are so well crafted that they could be games on their own. The side stories, or sub-stories, are another highlight. These are little side missions that range from the hilarious to the heartfelt. They often introduce quirky characters and situations that add a lot of flavor to the world. You might help a dominatrix improve her skills or chase down a stolen pair of underwear. It's this blend of serious main plot and wacky side content that gives the Yakuza series its unique charm. The series also offers mini-games that are incredibly detailed. For example, you can spend hours playing mahjong, shogi, or even running a real estate business. These mini-games add depth and variety, ensuring there's always something new to discover. Each game in the series is rich with content. Whether you're playing the older titles like Yakuza 0 or the latest installment, there's always a ton of stuff to keep you occupied. And with the interconnected stories, you'll find yourself deeply invested in the world and its characters. The Yakuza series is a fantastic blend of intense action, compelling storytelling, and an abundance of side activities. If you're looking for a series that can easily soak up 100+ hours of your time, this is it. Each game offers a unique and unforgettable experience, making it a must-play for any serious gamer. So dive into the world of Yakuza and get ready for an adventure that's both epic and entertaining.
Sky Finance って町金をやってた。
Baldur's Gate 3. Alright, let's talk about Baldur's Gate 3, a game that's perfect for anyone who loves epic RPGs with rich storytelling, complex characters, and endless possibilities. In Baldur's Gate 3, you're thrown into a world of magic, danger, and adventure. You start off with a parasite in your head, planted there by mind flayers, and your journey revolves around finding a way to remove it. The game's story is incredibly deep and full of twists, with every choice you make affecting the world and the people around you. One of the best things about Baldur's Gate 3 is the character creation. You can choose from a wide variety of races, classes, and backgrounds, each with its own unique abilities and traits. This level of customization means you can create a character that truly feels like your own. Whether you want to be a noble elf wizard, a rugged human warrior, or a sneaky halfling rogue, the possibilities are endless. The gameplay is a blend of exploration, combat, and roleplay. The world of Baldur's Gate 3 is vast and detailed with tons of secrets to discover. You'll be exploring dungeons, forests, and cities, all beautifully rendered and packed with things to find. The turn-based combat system is strategic and challenging, requiring you to think carefully about your actions. You can use the environment to your advantage, set traps, and combine spells and abilities in creative ways. The interactions with NPCs are another highlight. The dialogue options are extensive, and the choices you make can lead to vastly different outcomes. You can befriend characters, make enemies, or even romance them. Baldur's Gate 3 also supports multiplayer, so you can team up with friends and tackle the adventure together. This adds a whole new layer of fun as you can coordinate strategies and make decisions together. It's a great way to experience the game's rich world and story with others. One of the reasons you can easily spend 100 plus hours in Baldur's Gate 3 is the sheer amount of content. The main story is lengthy and engaging, but there are also countless side quests, hidden areas, and optional challenges. Every playthrough can be different thanks to the branching paths and choices, giving the game immense replay value. Overall, Baldur's Gate 3 is a game that offers a deep and immersive RPG experience. Its combination of rich storytelling, strategic combat, and endless customization makes it a standout title. If you're looking for a game that you can get lost in for hours on end, Baldur's Gate 3 is a must-play.
That's the kind of name you remember. This enemy takes all the boxes.
Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Alright, let's talk about Xenoblade Chronicles 3, an epic RPG that's sure to keep you hooked for well over 100 hours with its rich story, expansive world, and deep gameplay mechanics. In Xenoblade Chronicles 3, you find yourself in the vast, interconnected world of Aeonios. The game continues the grand tradition of the series with a complex, engaging storyline that explores themes of conflict, unity, and destiny. You'll meet a diverse cast of characters, each with their own backstories and motivations, and together you'll embark on an unforgettable adventure. One of the standout features of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is its open world. The environments are massive and beautifully crafted, ranging from lush forests and sprawling plains to mysterious caves and futuristic cities. Exploring these areas is a joy, as each location is filled with hidden secrets, challenging monsters, and stunning vistas. The world feels alive and full of possibilities, encouraging you to dive deeper and uncover everything it has to offer. The combat system in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is deep and strategic. It builds on the systems of the previous games, combining real-time action with complex party management. You control a team of characters, each with unique abilities and roles, and you can switch between them during battle to adapt to different situations. The game introduces new mechanics like interlinking, where characters can fuse together for powerful attacks, adding another layer of strategy. Mastering the combat system and finding the best combinations of characters and abilities is incredibly satisfying. Character progression is another area where Xenoblade Chronicles 3 shines. Each character can develop in multiple ways through leveling up, unlocking new skills, and finding better equipment. There are also various side quests and activities that help you strengthen your team and uncover more about the world and its inhabitants. The sense of growth and progression keeps you invested in your characters and their journey. The story is a major highlight with a real interesting plot that keeps you engaged from start to finish. The narrative is filled with twists and emotional moments, making you care deeply about the characters and their fates. Visually, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is stunning. The game's art style is vibrant and detailed with beautifully designed characters and environments. The day-night cycle and dynamic weather add to the immersive experience, making the world feel even more alive. The soundtrack is also exceptional, featuring sweeping orchestral pieces and memorable themes that enhance the overall atmosphere. There's so much to do in Xenoblade Chronicles 3. The main story alone can take dozens of hours to complete, but there are also countless side quests, optional bosses, and hidden treasures to discover. Overall, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a must-play for any RPG fan. Its combination of a rich, immersive world, deep combat system, and engaging story makes it a game that you can easily sink 100 hours into. If you're looking for an epic adventure that will keep you entertained for a long time, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is the perfect choice.
I don't normally stoop to this. Such duplicity is beneath me.
Stop in the back! What a dirty brute!
Persona 5 Royal. Alright, let's get into Persona 5 Royal, a game that blends the best of JRPG mechanics with a deep, engaging story and stylish presentation. This game isn't just about battling monsters, it's about living a double life as a high school student and a phantom thief. You play as a teenager who's transferred to Shujin Academy in Tokyo. On the surface, you're just an ordinary student dealing with classes, friendships, and the usual high school drama. But there's a twist. You and a group of friends discover you have the power to enter an alternate dimension called the Metaverse. In this realm, you become the Phantom Thieves, a group dedicated to stealing the corrupted desires from the hearts of adults. What makes Persona 5 Royal so amazing is its dual gameplay. By day, you attend school, take exams, build relationships, and engage in various social activities. Every action you take can improve your stats or deepen your bonds with other characters, which in turn affects your abilities in the metaverse. By night, you're exploring dungeons, fighting shadows, and stealing hearts. The combat system is turn-based, but with a twist. It's fast-paced, strategic, and incredibly satisfying. Each member of your team has unique abilities tied to their personas, powerful beings that represent their inner selves. You'll need to think carefully about your moves, exploit enemy weaknesses, and use a variety of skills to succeed. The game rewards strategy and planning, making every battle feel rewarding. One of the standout features of Persona 5 Royal is its story. It's a deep, multi-layered narrative that tackles themes of justice, rebellion, and the struggle against corruption. The characters are well developed, each with their own backstories and personal growth arcs. You'll find yourself deeply invested in their lives, both inside and outside of the metaverse. Visually, the game is a treat. It has a unique, stylish art direction with bold colors and slick animations. The user interface is one of the coolest you'll ever see in a game, and the overall aesthetic just screams style. Every element, from the menus to the battle animations, is designed to be visually striking. One of the new additions in Persona 5 Royal compared to the original Persona 5 is the expanded story content. There are new characters, new story arcs, and a whole new semester to explore. This adds even more depth and hours of gameplay, making an already lengthy game even more substantial. The social simulation aspect of the game is incredibly engaging. Building relationships with your friends and confidants isn't just about the story, it directly impacts your abilities in the metaverse. These connections unlock new skills, grant special bonuses, and provide deeper insight into the characters' lives. Persona 5 Royal is a game that offers a rich, immersive experience that can easily soak up 100+ hours of your time. Its combination of deep storytelling, strategic combat, and engaging social simulation makes it a standout title in the RPG genre. If you're looking for a game that will keep you hooked from start to finish, Persona 5 Royal is an absolute must-play.
If you don't deal with this thing...
Still Wakes the Deep. Honestly, what to say about Still Wakes the Deep? It's probably one of the best narrative horror stories I've played in many years. The setting is spot on, nailing the whole vibe of Scotland in 1970s aboard one of the most dangerous structures to work on in the North Sea. Graphically, it's the standard you'd expect from the Unreal Engine, creating amazing set pieces, lighting, rain, and water effects. The developers clearly did their homework on oil rigs from that era, since almost every single aspect of the interior and exterior is identical to what you would find on them, even down to the design of the lifeboats, radiators, and other small details. Personally, I think one of the strongest assets of this title is its sound design. With a good set of 3D surround headphones, it's quite amazing to listen to each surface underfoot, the creepy howling of the monsters.
Jesus, Gregor! Gregor! Get away from the edge! Gaz! Gaz! Get back, man! Gaz! Help me!
All the way to the walls and pipes shuddering and creaking from the weather is very immersive. I'm not sure what technology exactly they use for the waves, but this game is probably the first one I've played which actually captures the pure raw power and roar of a storm at sea as it slams up against the legs of the rig, and you can barely hear yourself over the noise.
He's breathing, thank Christ. Kaz, come on. Wake up, Kaz. Why is he not waking up? Can you hear me? Is he gonna die, Brody?
Now, as for the story, I won't comment much on it as it would be very hard to not spoil key moments, so to summarize briefly, this isn't a survival horror game, it's not got inventory management or other mechanics such as Outlast, Amnesia, or the evil within, so definitely don't go into this thinking that'll be the case. It's a narrative horror, much like taking part in a movie as the main character and going through an emotional roller coaster from beginning to end. Some will really enjoy it, others will immediately look elsewhere for a more action experience, both of which are fine, but you'll not find that here. That's not to say that there aren't some extremely tense moments and very eerie encounters. In closing, I highly recommend Still Wakes the Deep to anyone that's even curious about it. The story and characters left an impression on me, and even though it was relatively short, it was well worth the time and money.
Kaz! What? Right, aye, what do you need? The cable's stuck. Go down and release the main brake, then come back up and raise the bell.
Banishers Ghost of New Eden. Okay, so let's chat about Banishers Ghost of New Eden. Imagine you're in this mysterious, almost haunting place called New Eden. It's not your regular town because it's filled with ghosts, and your job is to banish them. Pretty cool, right? What I love about this game is the story. You play as a banisher, kind of like a ghost hunter, but with more of a personal touch. The characters are really well done, and you get to know them and their backstories as you go along. It feels like you're part of their world, dealing with their struggles and helping them find peace. The graphics are amazing. I remember the first time I saw the ghostly figures floating around, it gave me chills. The whole place has this eerie beauty to it, with shadows and light playing tricks on your eyes. And the sound effects, they totally nail it. The whispers of ghosts and the creaking of old buildings make you feel like you're right there in New Eden. Now, the gameplay is where it gets interesting. You're not just fighting ghosts, you're solving puzzles and exploring this vast haunted town. There's always something to discover, like hidden clues about the ghosts or secret paths that lead to new areas. It's a mix of action and adventure with plenty of moments where you have to use your brain. One thing to note is that sometimes it can get a bit tricky. There were a few puzzles that had me scratching my head, but it's all part of the fun. And while the game is more about the story and the atmosphere, there are some intense moments that keep you on your toes. Personally, I think Banishers Ghost of New Eden is a game you won't forget. It's got this unique blend of spooky storytelling and immersive gameplay that just pulls you in. If you're into games with a lot of heart and a bit of a creepy vibe, you've got to check this one out. Trust me, you'll be hooked.
Petty fiend.
Evil West. Alright, let me tell you about Evil West. Imagine the Wild West, but with a dark twist. It's crawling with vampires and all sorts of creepy creatures. You're not just any cowboy, you're a vampire hunter in a world where the supernatural is very real. What I really enjoyed about this game is the action. You get to use all sorts of cool weapons, from guns to gadgets, to take down these monsters. It's like being in an old school Western movie, but with a horror twist. The combat is super satisfying, especially when you pull off a perfect shot or use a nifty gadget to take down a vampire. The graphics are pretty awesome too. The Wild West has never looked so cool, with dusty towns, eerie landscapes, and detailed character designs. The enemies are both terrifying and fascinating to look at, which makes each encounter exciting, and the sound design, it's top notch. You can hear every bullet fired and every creepy noise in the night, which adds to the whole spooky vibe. Now, the story is something else. You're part of this secret vampire hunting organization, and you get to uncover all sorts of secrets about the monsters in the world they live in. It's engaging and keeps you wanting to know more. Plus, the characters you meet along the way are memorable and add a lot of depth to the game. Evil West is one of those games that you just have a blast playing. It's got a great mix of action, story, and that cool Wild West atmosphere with a horror twist. If you love games that keep you on the edge of your seat and make you feel like a total badass, you won't regret picking this one up. It's a wild ride from start to finish. Sifu. Okay, so let's talk about Sifu. Imagine you're on this intense journey of revenge, playing as a martial artist who's got some serious moves. This game is all about precision, skill, and a bit of patience. The thing that stands out the most in Sifu is the combat. It's like being in an epic martial arts movie. You have to time your attacks perfectly and use different techniques to take down your enemies.
Put that down!
It's not just about button mashing, you really have to think about your moves. The first time I nailed a combo, it felt so rewarding. The graphics are pretty slick too. The art style is unique with this cool, almost comic book-like look. It's vibrant and detailed, making every fight scene feel dynamic and alive. And the environments? They're beautifully crafted, from dimly lit alleys to stylish dojos. Each setting adds to the overall vibe of the game.
This fucking clown!
Now, what's really interesting is the aging mechanic. Every time you die, you get older, which affects your abilities. It's a unique twist that adds a layer of strategy. Do you keep pushing forward or take a step back and rethink your approach? It's a cool way to make you feel the weight of each fight. The story is straightforward but gripping. You're out for revenge, and as you progress, you uncover more about your character's past and the enemies you're facing. It's personal and makes every battle feel meaningful. One thing to note is that Sifu can be pretty challenging. There were times when I had to replay a section several times to get it right, but that's part of the appeal. It's tough, but when you finally succeed, it's incredibly satisfying. Overall, Sifu is a game that really makes you feel like a martial arts master. It's got a unique style, engaging combat, and a story that keeps you hooked. If you're up for a challenge and love games that test your skills, you won't regret diving into this one. It's a fight worth taking. Kena Bridge of Spirits. So, let me tell you about Kena Bridge of Spirits. This game is like stepping into a beautifully animated movie. You play as Kena, a young spirit guide who helps lost spirits move on to the afterlife. The whole vibe of the game is magical and heartwarming. First off, the graphics are stunning. It's one of the prettiest games I've seen, with lush forests, sparkling rivers, and charming little villages. The characters, especially the adorable rock creatures, are so well designed that you just want to reach out and hug them. It feels like you're living in a beautifully crafted fantasy world. The gameplay is a great mix of exploration, combat, and puzzle solving. You wander through these gorgeous landscapes, finding secrets and helping spirits find peace.
Hello, Spirit. I seek passage to the Sacred Mountain Shrine.
The combat is fun and feels good. You've got your staff for close combat and a bow for ranged attacks. Plus, the rock creatures can help you in battles and puzzles, adding a unique twist to how you play. One of the things I love most about this game is its story. It's touching and heartfelt, focusing on themes of loss, healing, and connection. As you help spirits, you learn their stories, which are often quite emotional. It's not just about fighting and exploring, it's about making a difference in this magical world. The music and sound design are also top-notch. The soundtrack is beautiful and fits perfectly with the game's atmosphere. The sound effects, from the rustling leaves to the gentle voices of the spirits, make the world feel alive. If I had to point out something, it's that the game can be a bit challenging at times, especially during some of the boss fights, but it's never unfair, and figuring out the best strategy to win feels rewarding. Kena Bridge of Spirits is a game that you just fall in love with. It's visually stunning, emotionally engaging, and so much fun to play. If you're looking for a game that's both beautiful and heartfelt, you won't regret picking this one up. It's like going on a magical adventure that you'll remember long after you've finished it. Robocop Rogue City. Alright, let's dive into Robocop Rogue City. Imagine stepping into the metallic shoes of Robocop, the iconic cyborg law enforcer from the 80s. This game is all about bringing that nostalgic, gritty, futuristic Detroit to life, and it does it pretty well. First off, the game nails the atmosphere. You feel like you're in a dystopian future with all the neon lights, shady alleyways, and high-tech gadgets. The graphics are solid, capturing the essence of the original movies while giving it a modern twist. The city feels alive, and it's filled with all sorts of characters and criminals that make your job as Robocop quite exciting. The combat is where the game shines. As Robocop, you're practically a walking tank. You've got all these cool weapons and abilities at your disposal. Whether you're blasting enemies with your trusty Auto 9 or using your built-in tech to scan for threats, every encounter feels intense and action-packed. The slow-motion targeting system is a blast, making you feel like a true cyborg superhero as you take down bad guys with precision. What's really cool is how the game incorporates investigation elements. You're not just shooting your way through the city, you're also solving crimes and uncovering conspiracies. It's a nice change of pace that adds depth to the gameplay. You get to use Robocop's advanced tech to analyze crime scenes, hack into systems, and piece together clues.
Somebody dumped her a few feet from here. The blood traces on the ground indicate she was dragged. Nasty wound. Looks like she was hit with a blunt object.
The story is pretty engaging too. It's a new tale set in the Robocop universe, and it's filled with twists and turns that keep you hooked. You meet familiar faces and new characters, all while trying to clean up the streets of Detroit. The dialogue is well written and captures that gritty, no-nonsense vibe that fans of Robocop love. Overall, Robocop Rogue City is a blast. It's got that perfect mix of action, strategy, and nostalgia. If you're a fan of the original Robocop movies or just love a good action game with a bit of depth, you won't regret picking this one up. It's a great way to step into the world of Robocop and take on the bad guys in style. Remnant 2. Alright, let's talk about Remnant 2. If you love games where you get to explore mysterious worlds and fight off all sorts of monstrous creatures, then this game is right up your alley. It's a sequel that takes everything great from the first game and cranks it up a notch. First off, the setting is fantastic. You're thrown into these beautifully crafted worlds that are both eerie and cool. Each location is packed with details from creepy forests to crumbling cities. The combat in Remnant 2 is seriously addictive. It's all about strategy and skill, mixing ranged and melee attacks. You have a variety of weapons and abilities to choose from, so you can play around with different styles and find what suits you best. The enemies are challenging and diverse, so you never feel like you're just doing the same thing over and over. Plus, the boss fights are epic. Each one is unique and requires you to really think about your tactics. One of the coolest things about this game is the co-op mode. You can team up with friends, and it's a blast to take down tough enemies together. It really adds a layer of fun and makes the whole experience feel more dynamic. There's something special about coordinating with your buddies to beat a tough boss. The story is intriguing too. It's got this deep lore that you gradually uncover as you progress. You meet interesting characters, each with their own backstories and motives. It's one of those games where you get sucked into the world and want to learn more about what's going on. Overall, Remnant 2 is a game that's hard to put down. It's got amazing visuals, exciting combat, and a world that you'll want to explore from top to bottom. If you're looking for a game that offers a great mix of action and adventure with a bit of a challenge, you won't regret picking this one up. Trust me, it's a wild ride from start to finish.
Trevor Hills, 28, Senior Account Manager at INAC, although I'm not sure about that anymore.
American Arcadia. Alright, let's chat about American Arcadia. Imagine a world where you're living in a 1970s retro-futuristic utopia, but there's a catch. It's all being broadcasted as a reality TV show, and you don't even know it. Sounds wild, right? The game's setting is one of its best features. The whole retro-futuristic vibe is super cool with bright colors, funky designs, and this eerie feeling of being watched. It's like stepping into a sci-fi movie from the 70s. The graphics are really charming and capture that era perfectly, making you feel like you're part of a groovy yet unsettling world.
Fellow citizens, we have a new Edge Travel Grant winner. His name
The story is what really hooks you. You play as a character who starts to realize that their perfect life in Arcadia is a bit too perfect, and something fishy is going on. It's got a great mix of suspense and intrigue as you try to uncover the truth about this bizarre reality TV show setup.
I have to send all these Ada memos by myself now that Gus is gone.
The characters you meet along the way are memorable and add a lot of depth to the narrative. Gameplay-wise, American Arcadia combines exploration, puzzle solving, and stealth elements. You're sneaking around, trying to avoid the ever-watchful cameras, and uncovering secrets that the producers don't want you to find. The puzzles are clever and fun, making you think without being too frustrating. It's a nice balance that keeps the game engaging. One of the coolest aspects is how the game makes you feel like you're part of this twisted TV show. You get these moments where the producers try to throw obstacles your way, making it feel like they're actively trying to keep you from discovering the truth. It adds a layer of tension that keeps you on your toes. If there's one thing to keep in mind, it's that the game can sometimes feel a bit slow. It's more about the story and the atmosphere than fast-paced action. But if you're into games that make you think and have a unique narrative, this won't be a problem. Overall, American Arcadia is a fascinating game that blends a unique setting with an engaging story and fun gameplay. If you love games that offer something a bit different and keep you hooked with their mystery and charm, you won't regret diving into this one.
Wait, you jumped into a swimming pool from the 20th floor of a building?
Yes, and while I think it's pretty obvious, I'm not exactly a daredevil.
My name is Zoe Walker. Not so long ago, I wanted to be a...
As Dusk Falls. This game is like diving into a very interesting visual novel-style interactive drama where every choice you make can change the course of the story. It's one of those games that really pulls you in with its narrative and keeps you hooked from start to finish. First off, the story is absolutely amazing. You're following two families over the course of several decades, and their lives get intertwined in the most unexpected ways. It's filled with intense moments, big decisions, and lots of drama. The game does a fantastic job of making you care about the characters and their struggles. Each choice feels significant, and you're constantly wondering what might happen next. The art style is pretty unique too. It's got this cool graphic novel look with hand-painted visuals that make it feel like you're playing through a comic book. It's different from anything I've seen before and adds a lot of charm to the game. Gameplay-wise, as Dusk Falls is all about making choices and seeing how they affect the story. It's not about fast-paced action or complex puzzles, it's about the narrative and the decisions you make. There are moments where you have to react quickly, and others where you have to think about what's best for the characters. It's a game that really makes you feel involved in the story. One of the best parts is how the game handles multiple perspectives. You get to see the story from different characters' viewpoints, which adds a lot of depth and makes you understand their motivations better. It's a bit like watching a TV show where you're in control of what happens next. Now, here's the thing. When I first started this game, I was like, what the hell are these graphics? Like, the game was made in 1998 itself. By the way, the story takes place in 1998. But as I went, I personally actually really got into it. It's like a book in a sense that when there is no visual overload, your brain compensates and completes the picture and the action in your head. I found this style very unusual, but somehow I really loved it. Another thing that I loved about this story compared to similar Choices Matters games is that the choices are fair. There were no situations where I could blame the game for wording the choice in a misleading way. Overall, as Dusk Falls is a must-play for anyone who loves a good story-driven game. It's got an engaging plot, unique visuals, and choices that really matter. If you're looking for a game that's more about the narrative and less about action, you won't regret picking this one up. It's like experiencing an interactive drama where every decision counts.
Sorry to lock you up like this.
Indica. Indica is a Russian game where you play as a nun that talks to the devil, and her name is shockingly Indica. Indica is also a very political game per director's own words. It's commentary on the Eastern Orthodox Church and political situation in Russia. how the Orthodox Church takes advantage of people to further agenda of the powers that be the earthly, not the heavenly. There is no specific genre or neat box you can put Indica into. It tries a lot of different things. It's mostly third-person perspective game where you have to solve various puzzles to progress, but it is also a 2D platformer and a 2D racing game, and some other genres.
For the sake of the prayers of all the... Stesha, do you have something prepared for Smaragda?
While this game doesn't necessarily stand out in any specific way in any of those, it stands out in how it combines all of those creatively to deliver a very humane, but also tragicomic story. While a lot of commentary on religion feels like something you have seen before, if you ever showed any interest or discussed atheism, it's put well into writing that feels very energetic and flows well. The story is best experienced by yourself and by going in as blind as possible. It doesn't overstay its welcome, clocking around 4 hours for me. Understandably, the ham-fisted messaging might not resonate with everyone, but it's worth experiencing. Visually, the game is beautiful and nigh photorealistic in many cases. Game uses that photorealism very well with its bizarre art direction, where you have lifelike looking bizarre architecture, machines, and monstrosities. It's a very fun contrast that helps set the sombre, but also tongue-in-cheek mood and atmosphere. Orally, it's also very well done. The music complements the game well, though there isn't much that stands out by itself. Voice acting performances are well acted both in English and Russian. Together with immersive sound effects, they really manage to sell you on atmosphere of a place, no matter how bizarre it may look. That crunch when walking on snow is really damn good. While definitely ambitious, it's clear the game was made by a small team. Modern technologies such as Unreal Engine 5 help them punch way above their weight, but the smaller team and budget is still visible in the occasional jank. And since the game looks so photorealistic, it can be sometimes difficult to tell what to interact with. This leads some puzzles not feeling very intuitive, but nothing that should put you off the game. Overall, I really liked Indica, and I liked it because it was a huge swing to try to express something and try something new. It definitely wasn't a miss, and I am not sure entirely how far the ball flew in the end, but the swing itself was beautiful.
Be interested in the lives of the saints.
Someone here is more than eager to welcome us.
Alright, let's talk about Solstice, a game that totally deserves more love. If you're into dark fantasy worlds and some seriously cool combat, this one's a hidden gem you gotta check out. In Solstice, you play as two sisters, Briar and Lute. These two have been turned into a chimera, which is like this badass dual-being warrior. The story is all about their bond and dealing with some heavy stuff like sacrifice and duty. It's got a lot of heart, and you really get into their journey. Now, the gameplay, it's a blast. You've got Briar for the up-close and personal melee combat, and Lute, who's got these awesome ethereal powers to back her up. Switching between their abilities during fights is super satisfying. You get this great mix of hack and slash action with some strategy thrown in. It's all about timing and working together, and when you nail it, it feels epic. The visuals in Solstice are pretty sweet. Think dark and gothic vibes with some seriously detailed environments. Every scene looks like it's straight out of a fantasy novel. The character designs are on point, too unique and full of personality. One of the best things about Solstice is how much passion clearly went into making it. It doesn't need a massive budget to be awesome. The combat is fluid, the story is engaging, and the whole game looks amazing. It's one of those games that just gets everything right. So if you're looking for an overlooked gem that's all about cool combat and a great story, give Solstice a shot. It's got that perfect mix of action and heart, and it's a journey you won't forget. Dive in, master those dual abilities, and enjoy every minute of this dark fantasy adventure. Trust me, you're gonna love it. The Sinking City. Alright, let's chat about The Sinking City, a game that's perfect for anyone who loves a good mystery with a creepy, supernatural twist. If you're into detective stories and Lovecraftian horror, this game is a must-play.
Mr. Charles Reed,
What a pleasure to finally meet you in the flesh.
You play as Charles Reed, a private investigator who arrives in the city of Oakmont, Massachusetts, to figure out why he's been having these crazy, nightmarish visions. The city is half submerged and full of weird, unsettling stuff. The atmosphere is super eerie, and the whole place feels like it's hiding some dark secrets.
See what you find. It would take tremendous.
The gameplay in the sinking city is all about exploration and investigation. You'll be solving puzzles, gathering clues, and trying to piece together what the heck is going on. It's got a lot of that classic detective vibe, where you need to really pay attention to details and think about how to use the clues you find. Combat is there, but it's not the main focus. You'll have to deal with some pretty freaky monsters, and while you can fight them off, it's often smarter to avoid them if you can. Ammo and resources are limited, so you need to be strategic about when to engage and when to run. Visually, the game nails that Lovecraftian horror feel. The city of Oakmont is dark, grimy, and falling apart, which perfectly sets the mood. The character designs and monsters are straight up creepy, adding to the whole unsettling atmosphere. The story is pretty engaging too. As you dig deeper into the city's mysteries, you'll uncover all sorts of weird cults, ancient rituals, and otherworldly horrors. It's got plenty of twists and turns to keep you hooked, and the side quests often tie into the main story in interesting ways. The sinking city might not have the polish of a big budget game, but it's got a ton of heart and atmosphere. The detective gameplay is satisfying, the story is intriguing, and the whole vibe of the game is just perfectly creepy. So if you're looking for an overlooked gem that delivers a solid mix of mystery, horror, and exploration, The Sinking City is definitely worth checking out. Dive into the eerie world of Oakmont, solve the mystery, and try to keep your sanity intact. You won't regret it. Greedfall.
Just a tad. Like this.
Let's talk about Greedfall, a game that's perfect for anyone who loves a good RPG with a rich story and lots of choices. If you're into exploring new worlds and making tough decisions, this game should be on your radar.
Few more minutes. You have such an incredibly singular face.
You play as D. Sarday, a noble who's off to a mysterious, uncharted island called Tirfredi. The island is full of magic, strange creatures, and a lot of political intrigue. You're there to find a cure for a plague that's ravaging your homeland, but things get complicated fast with all the different factions and secrets on the island. One of the coolest things about Greedfall is its emphasis on player choice. You get to decide how to approach situations, and your choices really matter. You can be diplomatic, sneaky, or just go in swords blazing. The way you interact with the different factions and characters can lead to different outcomes, making each playthrough feel unique. The combat is pretty fun and flexible. You can switch between melee, firearms, and magic on the fly, which keeps things interesting. Plus, you can customize your character with different skills and abilities to fit your playstyle. Whether you prefer to be a powerful mage, a skilled warrior, or a sharpshooter, the game lets you play how you want. The world of Greedfall is beautifully crafted. Tirfredi is a lush, vibrant place with a lot of diversity in its environments. From dense forests to ancient ruins, there's always something new to explore. The art style and attention to detail make the island feel alive and full of mystery. The story is engaging with plenty of twists and turns to keep you hooked. The characters you meet are well developed, each with their own motivations and backstories. Building relationships with your companions and other NPCs is a big part of the game, and your interactions with them can have significant impacts on the story. Visually, Greedfall is impressive for a AA game. The environments are detailed, and the character designs are distinct and memorable. The music and sound design also add to the atmosphere, making your journey through Tirfredi even more immersive.
You know who they were?
Greedfall might not have the same level of polish as some AAA titles, but it more than makes up for it with its ambition and heart. The game offers a deep, rewarding RPG experience with plenty of content to keep you busy. If you're looking for an overlooked gem that combines a rich narrative with flexible gameplay and a beautiful world, Greedfall is definitely worth your time. dive into the adventure, make your choices, and see how your story unfolds on the mysterious island of Tirfredi. Pentiment. Alright, let's dive into Pentiment, a game that's a real treat for anyone who loves narrative-driven experiences and rich, historical settings. If you're into story-focused games with unique art styles, this one's a hidden gem. You play as Andreas Mahler, a journeyman artist in 16th century Bavaria. The game revolves around a series of mysterious events and murders in the small town of Tassing and the nearby Kiersau Abbey. It's up to you to uncover the truth behind these mysteries, making decisions that impact the community and its future. It's like reading a beautiful visual novel with a very linear story, which might be off-putting for some people. Pentiment starts up very promising, quite an interesting world and characters to interact, and it gets quite tense with the murder investigations. There's so many interesting clues and evidences to gather, making you feel like a Sherlock Holmes in 16th century accompanied by amazing art style and lots of historical and literary references. Pentiment is like the folklore game I've always wanted to play. It's the medieval-ish Renaissance game I've always wanted to play. It's the murder mystery game I've always wanted to play. It scratches so many aesthetic itches that it's hard to know where to begin the praise, but I think I'll start with the deep appreciation of folklore that this game embodies. The game is really well researched, cited, and able to be referenced immediately in an illustrated glossary, fun to interact with through an easy-to-use UI, and versatile in its artistic rendering. In fact, everything you learn about this game is backed up by research that is readily available. Pentiment wants players to know that reading is not only essential to their success in the game, but also, as emphasized by its diverse cast of characters in different classes, an incredible privilege to be able to accomplish at one's leisure. The characters are beautifully fleshed out, believable, and diverse in their representations of early modern classes in class warfare. I loved every single one of them and fostered connections with them more than I have compared to other games. The time you spend with people is imperative for not only peace of mind in communal relations, but also communication and cultural knowledge. It's great that something like this can represent that in a video game. Now, the game is essentially a medieval murder mystery, but it's much more than that. The narrative is deep and multi-layered, exploring themes of faith, power, and the passage of time. Your choices matter a lot, shaping the story in significant ways. It's all about the dialogue and the relationships you build with the townsfolk. The art style is one of a kind. The game looks like a living manuscript, with visuals inspired by illuminated manuscripts in early print. It's colorful, detailed, and utterly charming. This unique style sets the mood perfectly and pulls you into the world of 16th century Europe. Gameplay-wise, Pentiment is all about exploration and conversation. There's no combat or fast-paced action here, just a lot of intriguing dialogue and detective work. You'll spend your time talking to characters, gathering clues, and making decisions that drive the story forward. It's a game that rewards patience and attention to detail. The historical accuracy and attention to detail are impressive. The game does a fantastic job of bringing the period to life, from the social dynamics to the daily routines of the characters. It feels like stepping into a different time, and you can tell a lot of love and research went into creating this world. So, if you're looking for an overlooked double A game that offers a unique narrative-rich experience, Pentiment is definitely worth checking out. It's a beautifully crafted game that immerses you in its historical setting and keeps you hooked with its compelling story and characters. Lost in Random. Okay, let's talk about Lost in Random. A game that's a real treat for anyone who loves quirky, unique adventures with a touch of dark fantasy. If you're into games that combine a whimsical story with strategic gameplay, this one's a hidden gem you should definitely check out. In Lost in Random, you play as Even, a young girl on a mission to rescue her sister Odd from the clutches of a wicked queen. The kingdom of Random is divided into 6 realms, each ruled by the roll of a dice. The story is a mix of fairy tale charm and Tim Burton-esque darkness, creating a world that's both enchanting and eerie. The gameplay is where Lost in Random really stands out. It's a mix of action and strategy with a unique twist involving dice rolls and card battles. You'll collect cards that represent different abilities, and during combat you roll a sentient dice named Dicey to determine which cards you can play. This adds a layer of unpredictability and strategy to the fights, keeping things fresh and engaging.
You have never once been dealt a fair hand.
The art style is absolutely gorgeous. The game's world is brought to life with a distinctive, handcrafted look that feels like you're walking through a dark, twisted storybook. The character designs are wonderfully bizarre, each one oozing personality and fitting perfectly into the game's whimsical yet unsettling atmosphere.
Oh, wow! I'm gonna live in the Queen's...
The story and world building in Lost in Random are top-notch. The narrative is filled with memorable characters, witty dialogue, and plenty of twists and turns. As you explore the different realms, you'll encounter a variety of quirky inhabitants and uncover the dark secrets of the Kingdom of Random. It's a journey that keeps you hooked from start to finish.
And went in the night. All this labor.
One of the best things about Lost in Random is its creativity. The combination of action, strategy, and dice mechanics is something you don't see every day, and it works beautifully. It's a game that constantly surprises you with its originality and inventive gameplay. If you're looking for an overlooked double A game that offers a unique, engaging experience, Lost in Random is definitely worth your time. It's a beautifully crafted adventure that combines a compelling story, strategic gameplay, and a wonderfully weird world.
No breakfast tomorrow, and you couldn't hit the spot. Smooth going burn.
Bramble the Mountain King.
She was never scared like...
Alright, let's talk about Bramble the Mountain King, a game that's a true hidden gem for anyone who loves atmospheric adventures with a touch of folklore. If you're into games that blend beautiful visuals with a dark fairy tale story, this one's for you. In Bramble the Mountain King, you embark on a journey through a magical world inspired by Nordic folklore. You play as a young boy trying to save his sister from the clutches of the terrifying Mountain King. The story is enchanting and eerie, filled with mythical creatures and dark legends that pull you in from the start. The game's visuals are absolutely stunning. Bramble is like stepping into a beautifully illustrated storybook with lush forests, sparkling rivers, and ominous caves. The art style perfectly captures the magic and danger of the world, making every scene a feast for the eyes. The attention to detail in the environments and character designs is truly impressive. Gameplay-wise, Bramble combines exploration, puzzle solving, and platforming. The puzzles are clever and fit seamlessly into the world, challenging you to think creatively as you navigate through various obstacles. The platforming elements are smooth and enjoyable, adding a layer of excitement to the exploration. It's not just about the challenge, though, it's about immersing yourself in this rich, atmospheric world. Bramble the Mountain King is not just about its stunning visuals and engaging gameplay, it's also about the emotional journey. The bond between the siblings and the perilous adventure they undertake adds depth to the story, making it resonate on a personal level. It's a game that combines heart with mystery, keeping you invested in the outcome. One of the best things about Bramble is how it brings folklore to life. The mythical creatures you encounter are both fascinating and frightening, each with its own story and place in the world. It's a game that respects its source material and uses it to create something truly unique and captivating. If you're looking for an overlooked gem that offers a beautiful, haunting adventure, Bramble the Mountain King is definitely worth checking out. It's a game that blends gorgeous visuals, engaging puzzles, and a touching story to create an experience that stays with you long after you've finished. Vampire.
A righteous snare to keep mankind from us.
Alright, let's talk about Vampire, a game that's all about dark choices, gritty atmosphere, and a deeply engaging story. If you're into gothic settings and moral dilemmas, this game should definitely be on your radar. In Vampire, you step into the shoes of Dr. Jonathan Reed, a doctor who's been turned into a vampire. Set in post-World War I London during the Spanish flu pandemic, the game oozes atmosphere and has a setting that's both haunting and beautiful. The story follows Jonathan as he struggles with his new vampiric nature while trying to save the city from the deadly outbreak. One of the coolest things about Vampire is its focus on choices and consequences. As a doctor and a vampire, you're constantly torn between your Hippocratic oath and your thirst for blood. Every decision you make affects the game world and the people around you. Do you feed on a citizen to gain strength, or do you resist and try to help them? These choices shape the narrative and can lead to multiple endings, adding a ton of replayability.
Get out of here!
The combat is pretty intense, mixing melee and ranged attacks with vampiric powers. You'll have to manage your blood supply carefully, using it to heal or unleash powerful abilities. It's a nice balance of action and strategy, and the difficulty can be quite challenging if you choose to abstain from feeding on innocent people.
The strength I never knew I had. This shouldn't be possible.
He's dead!
Visually, Vampire is fantastic. The game's depiction of 1918 London is dark, atmospheric, and full of detail. The environments are meticulously crafted, from the foggy streets to the eerie, abandoned buildings. The character models and animations are also well done, making the interactions feel genuine and immersive. The story is a major highlight. It's rich with lore and filled with interesting characters, each with their own backstories and secrets. As you explore the city, you'll uncover various subplots and mysteries that deepen the overall narrative. The dialogue is well written, and the voice acting adds a lot of depth to the characters, especially Jonathan Reed. Vampire might not have the massive budget of a AAA game, but it more than makes up for it with its ambition and heart. The focus on moral choices and the impact of your decisions make it stand out in the action RPG genre. If you're looking for an overlooked gem that combines a compelling story with intense gameplay and a rich, atmospheric world, Vampire is definitely worth checking out.
Thirsty. So thirsty.
Darksiders 2. A game that's a wild mix of action, adventure, and RPG elements. If you're into epic quests, badass combat, and a rich, immersive world, this game is a hidden gem you've got to check out.
Look at me now.
In Darksiders 2, you play as Death, one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The story runs parallel to the events of the first Darksiders game, with Death on a quest to clear his brother War's name and save humanity. It's a tale of redemption, mystery, and epic battles set in a beautifully crafted universe. What sets Darksiders 2 apart is its blend of gameplay styles. You've got fast-paced hack-and-slash combat that feels incredibly satisfying. Death wields a variety of weapons, from massive scythes to fast, dual-wielding gauntlets. The combat is fluid and dynamic, with plenty of combos and special moves that keep every fight exciting. But it's not just about combat. Darksiders 2 also features a deep RPG system. You'll level up, gain new abilities, and collect loot that enhances your weapons and armor. The customization options are great, allowing you to tailor Death's abilities and gear to your playstyle. Whether you prefer to be a tanky bruiser or a nimble, high-damage dealer, the game has you covered. The world of Darksiders 2 is vast and varied. You'll explore different realms, each with its own unique look and feel. From lush forests to desolate wastelands and eerie dungeons, the environments are beautifully designed and full of secrets to uncover. The level design encourages exploration, with plenty of hidden areas, puzzles, and treasures to find. Speaking of puzzles, Darksiders 2 has plenty of them. The game strikes a nice balance between combat and puzzle solving, with intricate environmental puzzles that require a bit of brain power to solve. These puzzles break up the action nicely and add depth to the overall gameplay. Darksiders 2 is a game that offers a lot of content. The main quest is lengthy and engaging, but there are also tons of side quests, collectibles, and challenges to keep you busy. It's a game that rewards exploration and curiosity, with plenty of surprises waiting around every corner. If you're looking for an overlooked gem that combines thrilling combat, deep RPG elements, and a richly detailed world, Darksiders 2 is definitely worth your time.
Your secrets can
Ghostwire Tokyo. Alright, let's talk about Ghostwire Tokyo, a game that blends supernatural action with a hauntingly beautiful version of Tokyo. If you're into creepy atmospheres, supernatural powers, and exploring a city like never before, this game is a must-play. In Ghostwire Tokyo, you find yourself in a Tokyo where almost everyone has mysteriously vanished, leaving the city eerily empty and filled with supernatural beings. You play as Akito, a young man possessed by a spirit detective named KK, who grants him mystical powers. Together, they need to uncover the mystery behind the disappearances and deal with the otherworldly threats that have taken over the city. What makes Ghostwire Tokyo stand out is its unique combat system. Instead of traditional weapons, you use a combination of elemental magic and spiritual abilities. You can shoot fireballs, summon wind blasts, and even use water to defeat your enemies. The combat feels fluid and dynamic, and it's super satisfying to use these powers against the creepy spirits haunting the city. The game's version of Tokyo is absolutely stunning. The developers have created a detailed, atmospheric rendition of the city, blending real-world locations with supernatural elements. The neon lights, dark alleys, and empty streets create an eerie yet captivating environment. Exploring Tokyo is a thrill in itself, with lots of hidden secrets, collectibles, and side missions that add depth to the game. The story in Ghostwire Tokyo is intriguing and filled with Japanese folklore and mythology. As you progress, you'll encounter various yokai spirits and learn about their backgrounds and motivations. The narrative does a great job of mixing horror and action, keeping you engaged with its mysterious and often creepy plot twists. Visually, the game is a treat. The graphics are top-notch with impressive lighting effects and detailed environments that make the supernatural version of Tokyo feel alive. The character and enemy designs are also well done, adding to the overall atmosphere of the game. Ghostwire Tokyo is a game that offers a lot of content. The main quest is engaging, but there are also plenty of side activities and optional missions that flesh out the world and provide more challenges. It's a game that encourages exploration and rewards you for taking the time to uncover all its secrets. If you're looking for an overlooked gem that combines supernatural action, an atmospheric setting, and an intriguing story, Ghostwire Tokyo is definitely worth checking out.
Have fun, Jimmy. I'll think of you from our cruise ship.
Bully. Alright, let's talk about Bully, a game that truly stands out as a forgotten masterpiece. Released by Rockstar Games, this gem takes you on a wild ride through the chaotic life of a boarding school student, and it's an experience you don't want to miss. So, you play as Jimmy Hopkins, a rebellious teenager who's been dumped at Bulworth Academy, a rundown boarding school full of bullies, corrupt teachers, and quirky students. The game's setting is incredible. It's like the ultimate high school drama, but with all the craziness cranked up to 11, the school and the town around it are packed with details, making it feel like a living, breathing place. The gameplay is a blast. It's a mix of open-world exploration, mission-based storytelling, and good old-fashioned brawling. You go to classes or skip them, pull pranks, and get into all sorts of trouble. The classes are actually mini-games that are fun and give you bonuses like better fighting moves or more stamina, and the missions, they're varied and often hilarious, from defending nerds from bullies to pulling off epic pranks. One of the coolest things about Bully is how it captures the different social cliques at the school: jocks, nerds, preps, and greasers, and you have to navigate these groups, often pitting them against each other. It's got this clever social strategy element that keeps things interesting. The combat system is pretty straightforward, but satisfying. You'll be throwing punches, dodging attacks, and using a variety of makeshift weapons. It's not just about brute force, though sometimes using your head and playing smart is the way to go. And there's a whole bunch of side activities like go-kart racing, bike riding, and even carnival games that add to the fun. What really makes Bully special is its humor and heart. The writing is sharp, filled with Rockstar's trademark wit and satire. The characters are memorable and often exaggerated, but in a way that makes them endearing. Jimmy himself is a likable protagonist. Despite his tough guy exterior, he's got a soft spot and often ends up helping others in unexpected ways. Bully might not have the massive scale of Rockstar's other titles like GTA, but it's got its own unique charm and depth. It's a game that perfectly blends humor, action, and a bit of nostalgia for school days, even if those days are crazier than anything you've ever experienced. So if you've never played Bully or it's been a while, do yourself a favor and dive back in. It's a forgotten masterpiece that still holds up today, offering a wonderfully unique and entertaining gaming experience. You'll get lost in the halls of
Exactly as I'd expected.
Max Payne. Alright, let's talk about Max Payne, a game that set the bar high for storytelling and action in video games, but often gets overlooked these days. This game is an absolute classic that deserves all the praise and more. So, Max Payne throws you into the shoes of, well, Max Payne, a gritty, hard-boiled NYPD detective turned vigilante. The story kicks off with a gut punch. Max's family is brutally murdered and he's out for revenge. What makes this game stand out is its incredible narrative. It's dark, intense, and packed with twists that keep you hooked from start to finish. It feels like you're playing through a noir crime novel complete with moody, rain-soaked streets and seedy underworld characters.
Trio.
Now, let's talk gameplay. Max Payne introduced the world of bullet time, you know, that super cool slow-motion gunplay that lets you dodge bullets and take out enemies with style. It's like stepping into the Matrix, but in a gritty noir setting. The gunfights are intense and incredibly satisfying. Diving through the air in slow motion while unloading a barrage of bullets never gets old. The graphics were groundbreaking for their time. Sure, they might look a bit dated now, but the game's artistic style holds up. The use of comic book panels to tell the story is genius and adds a unique flair that makes the narrative even more engaging. Each panel is detailed and beautifully drawn, pulling you deeper into Max's world. The atmosphere in Max Payne is top-notch. The dark, brooding soundtrack sets the perfect mood, making you feel every bit of Max's pain and determination. What really makes Max Payne a masterpiece, though, is its storytelling. It's not just about the revenge plot, it's about Max's descent into his own personal hell and his struggle to climb out of it. The game tackles themes of loss, despair, and redemption in a way that few games dared to at the time. The level design is another highlight. Each location, from grimy apartments to shadowy warehouses, is meticulously crafted, adding to the overall immersive experience. The game constantly keeps you on your toes with new challenges and enemies, making it a thrilling ride from start to finish. If you've never played Max Payne, or it's been a while, it's time to revisit this forgotten gem. It's a game that defined a genre and still stands as one of the best examples of storytelling and action in video games. Max's journey is one you won't forget, and the gameplay is just as thrilling now as it was back then. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Alright, let's talk about Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, a game that's a real classic and an absolute joy to play. This game is like stepping into a fantastic adventure movie. You play as the prince, a young warrior who gets his hands on a magical dagger that can control time. The story starts when the prince accidentally unleashes the Sands of Time, turning everyone in the kingdom into monsters. Now, it's up to him to fix everything and save the day. What makes this game so special is the way you move around. The prince can run up walls, jump across gaps, and swing on poles with amazing agility. The controls are smooth, and it feels really cool to pull off all these acrobatic moves. The game is full of tricky platforming sections where you need to use all your skills to get through. The combat is also a lot of fun. You fight with a sword and use the magical dagger to freeze and rewind time. This means if you make a mistake, you can rewind and try again, which is super handy. The enemies get tougher as you go, so you need to get better at using your moves and the dagger's powers. The puzzles in the game are really well done. They make you think, but they're not too hard. You'll need to figure out how to use the environment and your abilities to solve them. It's very satisfying when you finally figure out how to get past a tough spot. The story is exciting and keeps you hooked. The prince is a great character and his journey is full of twists and turns. The voice acting is really good, especially for the prince and the other main characters, which makes the story even more engaging. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time is a game that's easy to love. It's got action, puzzles, a great story, and amazing acrobatics. If you've never played it, you're in for a treat. It's one of those games that stays with you long after you've finished it, and it's definitely worth revisiting.
It has been said, what fates impose that men must need abide. It boots not to resist both wind.
Tales of Monkey Island. Alright, let's dive into Tales of Monkey Island, a game that's all about fun, adventure, and a whole lot of laughs. This game takes you on a wild ride with one of the most lovable pirates in gaming, Guybrush Threepwood. You play as Guybrush, a goofy but charming pirate who always seems to find himself in the middle of trouble. This time he accidentally unleashes a magical curse that turns his hand into a demon's paw and causes chaos across the Caribbean. Now, it's up to Guybrush to set things right, save his wife Elaine, and deal with his old nemesis, the evil pirate LeChuck.
What's your game, LeChuck? Lure me into a false sense of security with kind words and sandwiches and then murder me in my sleep?
The best part of Tales of Monkey Island is the humor. The game is filled with witty dialogue, funny characters, and plenty of silly situations. Guybrush's adventures are full of clever jokes and hilarious moments that keep you smiling from start to finish. The gameplay is all about solving puzzles and exploring the world. You'll need to talk to different characters, find useful items, and figure out how to use them to solve various problems. The puzzles can be tricky, but they're always fun and rewarding when you finally crack them. It's like being part of a really funny treasure hunt. The story is engaging and full of twists and turns. Each chapter of the game takes you to new and exciting places, from spooky islands to mysterious jungles. The characters you meet along the way are memorable and add a lot to the story. Plus, the voice acting is top-notch, making the dialogue even more enjoyable.
Unholy this!
Unholy this?
Yeah, I know, but he didn't give me much to work with. Hey!
Visually, the game has a colorful cartoon-like style that fits perfectly with its lighthearted tone. The different locations are beautifully designed and fun to explore. The music and sound effects also add to the overall charm, making the world of Monkey Island feel alive and vibrant. Tales of Monkey Island is a game that's all about having a good time. It's got a great mix of humor, adventure, and clever puzzles that make it a joy to play. If you're looking for a game that's both entertaining and full of charm, you can't go wrong with this one. It's a wonderful adventure that will keep you laughing and engaged from beginning to end.
Did it work?
No.
Dang.
Telltale's Jurassic Park. Alright, let's chat about Telltale's Jurassic Park, a game that takes you back to the thrilling and dangerous world of dinosaurs. If you're a fan of the Jurassic Park movies, this game is like stepping right into the action. The game is set during the events of the first Jurassic Park movie, but it tells a new story with different characters. You follow a group of people who are trying to survive on the island after the dinosaurs escape. There's a mix of scientists, mercenaries, and even a young girl, each with their own reasons for being there. What's really cool about Telltale's Jurassic Park is how it focuses on the story. It's like an interactive movie where your choices affect what happens next. You'll be making decisions that can change the outcome of the story, so you've got to think carefully about what you do. It makes you feel like you're part of the adventure, and every choice adds to the tension. The gameplay is mostly about exploring and solving puzzles. You'll be looking for clues, figuring out how to get past obstacles, and dealing with the dinosaurs. There are also quick time events where you have to press buttons at the right time to escape danger or complete an action. It keeps you on your toes and adds to the excitement. Now, honestly, I've never heard anyone talking about this game, and my opinion is that shouldn't be looked as a game with lots of action, but more like an interactive movie. It's more about the story and the decisions you make. If you're looking for a fast-paced shooter, this isn't it. But if you love a good story and enjoy making choices that impact the game, then you'll have a great time.
That's great. Thanks a lot. Very helpful.
Telltale's Jurassic Park is a forgotten gem that's worth playing, especially if you're a fan of the movies. It brings the excitement and danger of Jurassic Park to life in a new and interactive way. So if you're ready for a thrilling adventure filled with dinosaurs and tough choices, give this game a try. You won't be disappointed.
Ah, a sewer. How quaint.
Does anybody remember how to play?
Deadpool. Alright, let's dive into the Deadpool game. If you love Deadpool's crazy humor and antics, then this game is going to be a blast for you. So, you play as Deadpool, the wild and wacky anti-hero we all know and love. From the moment you start the game, Deadpool is breaking the fourth wall, talking directly to you, and cracking jokes left and right.
In my game, you get points for killing baddies.
It's like having a buddy who's just as sarcastic and unpredictable as you'd expect. The gameplay is a mix of hack and slash combat and shooting. You've got swords, guns, and a bunch of other weapons that you can switch between. The combat is super fun and over the top. You can pull off some pretty sweet moves and combos, and there are special attacks that make everything even crazier. It's like a big chaotic dance of destruction, and Deadpool makes sure you enjoy every minute of it.
I'll be in my penthouse. Don't let that clown get in here.
Penthouse, huh?
The story is as nuts as you'd imagine. Deadpool's on a mission that's basically an excuse for him to do whatever the hell he wants. There are lots of twists and turns, and it's all wrapped up in his unique sense of humor. He's constantly making fun of the villains, the game, and even you. It's a wild ride, and you never really know what's going to happen next. What I love most about this game is the humor. It's packed with jokes, funny dialogue, and ridiculous situations. Deadpool's personality shines through in every part of the game. There are so many laugh-out-loud moments, whether he's mocking the enemies, the game itself, or just going off on some random tangent. It's always entertaining.
Let's try something a little better.
Nolan North voices Deadpool, and man, he nails it. His performance is spot on, bringing all the characters' charm and craziness to life. The voice acting in general is great, adding to the overall fun and chaotic atmosphere. Now, the game can get a bit repetitive sometimes. The combat doesn't change much as you go on, and some of the jokes might not always hit the mark. But honestly, if you're a Deadpool fan, you're probably going to be having too much fun to care.
To embarrass me.
Overall, the Deadpool game is just a blast. It's silly, chaotic, and full of the humor and action you'd expect from Deadpool. If you're looking for a game that's all about having a good time and not taking itself too seriously, this is it.
I'm crazy for... This must be my style.
But I will show you what lies behind my eyes.
Hellblade 2: Senua's Saga. If you're into breathtaking visuals and intense storytelling, Hellblade 2: Senua's Saga should be on your radar. This game is a follow-up to the critically acclaimed Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, and it takes things up a notch with even more stunning graphics and immersive experience. The story continues the journey of Senua, a warrior struggling with mental illness and facing dark, mythical forces. Set in a world inspired by Norse mythology, the game's narrative dives deep into Senua's psyche as she battles both external foes and her inner demons. The visuals in Hellblade 2 are absolutely jaw-dropping. The game uses cutting-edge technology to bring its dark fantasy world to life. From the intricately detailed character models to the expansive, atmospheric environments, every aspect of the game's graphics is crafted to pull you into its hauntingly beautiful world. The gameplay focuses on intense, visceral combat and puzzle solving. You'll face off against fearsome enemies, solve environmental puzzles, and experience a story that's as emotionally gripping as it is visually impressive. The game's use of motion capture and voice acting is top-notch, making Senua's struggles and triumphs feel incredibly real.
Don't let them capture you again. Are you going to let me kill you? Oh, this guy will die now.
One of the standout features is the sound design. The game uses binaural audio to create a rich, immersive soundscape that enhances the feeling of being inside Senua's world. It's like you're right there with her, hearing and feeling everything she does. Overall, Hellblade 2: Senua's Saga is a visual masterpiece with a powerful story and immersive gameplay. If you're looking for a high graphics game that pushes the boundaries of storytelling and visuals, this one's definitely worth playing.
In town, getting ready to leave. I need... Hugo.
A Plague Tale Requiem. Plague Tale Requiem is a game that'll grab your attention with its incredible graphics and gripping story. It's a sequel to A Plague Tale: Innocence and takes you on another dark, emotional journey through a plague-ridden world. The game continues the story of Amisha and her younger brother, Hugo, as they navigate a world devastated by disease and war. This time they're seeking a way to lift the curse that plagues Hugo, while dealing with even more dangerous enemies and threats.
Hey, I had a nightmare. I know.
Gameplay-wise, you'll experience a mix of stealth, exploration, and puzzle solving. You have to be smart about how you approach each situation. Whether you're sneaking past enemies or using the environment to your advantage, the game keeps you on your toes. The combat is tense and strategic, making every encounter feel impactful.
God damn you!
The story is deeply emotional and driven by the characters' struggles. The relationship between Amisha and Hugo is central to the plot, and their journey is filled with moments of hope and despair. The game does a fantastic job of making you care about their fate and the world they're fighting to survive in. Overall, A Plague Tale Requiem is a visually stunning and emotionally powerful game. If you're looking for a high graphics experience with a deep, moving story, this game is definitely worth checking out. Metro Exodus. If you're into atmospheric, post-apocalyptic adventures, Metro Exodus is a game you won't want to miss. Set in a world devastated by nuclear war, this game continues the story of the Metro series but takes things to a whole new level with expansive environments and stunning visuals. You play as Artyom, a survivor who leaves the underground metro system in search of a new life in the outside world. The game takes you on a journey across the Russian landscape, from desolate wastelands to lush, overgrown areas. The goal is to find a safe haven where humanity can start rebuilding.
I surrender!
Visually, Metro Exodus is breathtaking. The game's graphics are top-notch with highly detailed environments that create an immersive, post-apocalyptic atmosphere. You'll see everything from crumbling buildings to vibrant natural landscapes, all rendered with impressive realism. Gameplay combines first-person shooting with survival elements. You'll need to manage your resources, craft weapons and gear, and make tactical decisions in combat. The game also has a strong focus on exploration and storytelling. Each area is packed with secrets, side quests, and environmental storytelling that help you piece together the world's backstory. The story is engaging with a mix of personal and broader narrative elements. Artyom's journey is filled with encounters with other survivors, each with their own stories and motivations. The choices you make impact how the story unfolds, adding replay value to the game. One thing to keep in mind is that the game's pacing can be a bit slow, especially if you're not into the exploration and survival aspects. Some players might find the focus on scavenging and resource management to be a bit tedious at times. Overall, Metro Exodus offers a rich, immersive experience with its stunning graphics, detailed world, and engaging gameplay. If you enjoyed post-apocalyptic settings and deep, narrative-driven games, this one is definitely worth your time. Horizon Forbidden West. Alright, let's dive into Horizon Forbidden West. If you love the first game, this sequel is going to blow you away. Set in a stunning post-apocalyptic world where robotic creatures roam the land, this game takes everything you enjoyed and cranks it up a notch. You're back as Aloy, the fierce and determined hunter, this time venturing into uncharted territories known as the Forbidden West. The stakes are high as you're on a mission to save your world from a mysterious and powerful threat. The story weaves together Aloy's personal journey with epic discoveries about the world and its ancient past. Visually, this game is a feast for the eyes. The environments are incredibly detailed, from lush, overgrown forests and breathtaking deserts to underwater vistas and crumbling ruins. Every corner of the world feels alive and vibrant, pulling you into its beauty and danger. Exploration is a key part of the game, and it's super satisfying. You'll be climbing mountains, diving into underwater caverns, and navigating dense foliage. The world is packed with secrets, side quests, and collectibles that make every journey feel rewarding. If you're into open world adventures with gorgeous visuals, deep lore, and thrilling combat, Horizon Forbidden West is a must-play. It builds on everything that made the first game great and adds even more to love. Are you tired of playing open world games? If yes, then this list is for you. Sometimes all you might want is a straightforward adventure without getting sidetracked or lost. So let's look at the first game on our list, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, so let's dive into Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. If you're tired of wandering around huge open worlds and just want a tight, story-driven experience, this game is perfect for you. You play as Star-Lord, leading the ragtag team of misfits we all know and love: Rocket, Groot, Gamora, and Drax. The story is an absolute blast, full of humor, heart, and those classic Guardians shenanigans. It's like playing through a movie with some epic space adventures. The gameplay is pretty straightforward but super fun. You control Star-Lord, but you can also issue commands to the other Guardians during combat. Each character has unique abilities, so figuring out the best way to combine their skills is key. The combat feels dynamic and keeps you engaged without being overly complicated. What's really great about this game is the focus on the story. The dialogue is witty and the character interactions are spot on.
Is it working?
Yeah, don't worry, sunshine.
You'll feel like you're part of the team, making decisions that impact the story and relationships between the characters. The narrative is linear, but that's what makes it refreshing. No endless map markers or side quests to distract you.
This kid is still a corpsman. Now are you gonna help me or not?
Visually, the environments are colorful and vibrant, capturing the essence of the Guardians universe perfectly. The character models are detailed and the animations bring the crew to life in a way that's both fun and engaging. The soundtrack is another highlight. It's packed with classic rock and pop hits that add to the game's energetic vibe. Plus, there's an original score that fits perfectly with the action and emotional moments. It's one of those games where the music is almost a character itself. If you're looking for a game that offers a fantastic story, great characters, and fun gameplay without the overwhelming size of an open world, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is a great choice. It's a linear adventure that's packed with entertainment and keeps you hooked from start to finish.
This old Kree-tech gets me wondering.
The Order 1886. Control. So, let me tell you about Control. This game is like diving headfirst into a trippy sci-fi mystery, and it's a wild ride from start to finish. You play as Jessie Faden, who's searching for her missing brother. Her journey leads her to the Federal Bureau of Control, a super secret government agency dealing with all things paranormal. The moment you step into the FBC's headquarters, the oldest house, you know you're in for something special. The place is a shifting, surreal building that's just as much a character as anyone else in the game. One thing that really grabbed me about Control is the atmosphere. The visuals are stunning with a unique brutalist architecture that's both eerie and mesmerizing. The way the environment transforms around you is mind-bending and keeps you on your toes. The graphics are top-notch, and the use of lighting and shadows adds to the creepy, otherworldly feel. The gameplay is where Control really shines. Jessie has these crazy telekinetic powers that make combat a blast. You can hurl objects at enemies, create shields from debris, and even take control of enemy mines. It's super satisfying to use these powers in creative ways, and the combat never gets old. Plus, the service weapon, which can change forms, adds another layer of depth to the action. The story is mysterious and intriguing. It's full of bizarre occurrences and mind-bending twists that keep you hooked. There are tons of documents and recordings scattered throughout the oldest house that flesh out the lore, and I found myself going out of my way to find every bit of information. It's like a giant interactive puzzle that you piece together as you play. One night I remember playing Control with the lights off, headphones on, completely immersed in the experience. The sound design is incredible, with ambient noises and unsettling soundscapes that pull you deeper into the game's world.
It happened in the last drop. I'd really need an assistant.
The voice acting is also top-notch, especially from Jessie's actress, who does a fantastic job bringing her character to life.
Only Ahti here seems to see that.
Yeah, hi, Ahti. Look, we need to get the lockdown.
Another thing I loved is how the game balances exploration and action. The oldest house is filled with secrets, and it rewards you for poking around and investigating every nook and cranny. The Metroidvania-style progression, where you unlock new abilities that let you access previously unreachable areas, keeps you engaged in constantly discovering new things. Control is a perfect game for when you want to break from massive open worlds and crave something more focused and narrative-driven. It's weird, it's wonderful, and it's a game that keeps you thinking long after you finish playing. So, if you're in the mood for a game that offers a unique blend of mind-bending story, satisfying combat, and a hauntingly beautiful world, give Control a try. It's an experience you won't soon forget.
Under the right conditions to other planes of existence as well.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Alright, let's dive into Jedi Survivor, a game that's perfect if you're tired of massive open worlds and want something more focused and action-packed. In Jedi Survivor, you play as Cal Kestis, one of the last Jedi who's on the run from the Empire. The story picks up after the events of Jedi Fallen Order. It's got a mix of intense lightsaber combat, exploration, and a gripping narrative that keeps you hooked. What really stands out in Jedi Survivor is the combat. It's all about lightsaber battles and using the Force. The combat feels tight and satisfying, whether you're blocking blaster shots or taking down stormtroopers. Plus, you can upgrade your skills, which makes the fights even more exciting. Visually, the game is stunning. The environments are detailed and varied, from lush forests to ancient ruins. The graphics really pull you into the Star Wars universe, making everything feel epic and grand. One thing I loved about Jedi Survivor is how it balances action with exploration. You get to climb, jump, and use the Force to solve puzzles. It's not just about fighting, it's also about discovering secrets and finding your way through challenging terrain. The story is engaging with well-developed characters and plenty of twists. You really feel for Cal as he struggles to survive and fight back against the Empire. The voice acting is top-notch, adding depth to the characters and making the story even more immersive.
What took you so long?
Oh, you know, just hanging out, taking in the sights. Been a while since I was on Coruscant.
If you're looking for a game that offers a mix of intense action and intriguing exploration, Jedi Survivor is a fantastic choice. It's a focused, story-driven experience that pulls you into the Star Wars universe and keeps you entertained from start to finish. Grab your lightsaber and get ready for an adventure you won't forget. Until Dawn. Alright, let's talk about Until Dawn, a game that's perfect for a thrilling, story-driven experience, especially if you're tired of massive open worlds.
Beauties is not the word that comes to mind. Why is this even here?
What do you mean?
In Until Dawn, you control a group of friends who've gone to a remote mountain lodge for a getaway. Things quickly turn dark and creepy when they realize they're not alone. The story unfolds over one terrifying night, filled with suspense, horror, and plenty of surprises.
Down, okay? Just, we need to find out more.
I'm sorry, I am so sorry.
What do they mean?
What's awesome about Until Dawn is that it's like playing through a horror movie. The game is all about making choices that affect the story and the fate of the characters. Every decision you make can lead to different outcomes, so you need to think carefully. It's super engaging because you're always on edge, wondering if you made the right call.
B?
The library. Maybe there's something in the library?
P-R-O-O?
Proof. There's proof.
In the library?
One of the things I loved about Until Dawn is the cast. The characters are brought to life by some great acting, and you'll recognize a few familiar faces. The interactions between the characters feel real, and you get to know their personalities as the story progresses. It makes the stakes feel even higher because you actually care about what happens to them.
Yeah, alright. Wanna go do that?
Any place without that whore.
The gameplay is mostly about exploration and making decisions, but there are also quick-time events and puzzles that keep things interesting. The way the game switches between different characters and perspectives adds to the tension and keeps you guessing.
Nice one.
It's a game that's fun to play alone or with others, as you can discuss and debate the choices you make. It's perfect for a spooky game night.
Actually pretty simple.
Until Dawn is a great game to play if you're looking for a shorter, intense experience. It's about 8 to 10 hours long, which is perfect for a weekend or a few evenings. The replay value is high too because you'll want to go back and see how different choices affect the story. If you're looking for a game that offers a gripping, horror-filled adventure with plenty of twists and turns, Until Dawn is a must-play. It's a refreshing break from open-world games, providing a focused and thrilling experience that keeps you hooked from start to finish. Turn off the lights, get comfortable, and prepare for a terrifyingly good time. Death Loop. Okay, let's talk about Deathloop. A game that's perfect when you're tired of massive open worlds and want something fresh and exciting. In Deathloop, you play as Colt, a guy stuck in a time loop on a mysterious island called Black Reef. Every day, you wake up to the same day, and your goal is to break the loop by taking out 8 targets before the day resets.
I'm supposed to do this every day for the rest of my life?
It sounds simple, but trust me, it's a wild ride. What really grabbed me about Deathloop is how it combines elements of a shooter with a puzzle game. You're not just running and gunning, you're also figuring out the best way to take down your targets and escape the loop. Each loop teaches you something new, and it's super satisfying to piece together the perfect plan. The gameplay is tight and fun. The shooting feels great, and you have a bunch of cool powers, like teleporting short distances or turning invisible. Mixing and matching these abilities makes each run feel different, and there's always a new strategy to try out. Visually, Black Reef has this retro-futuristic vibe that's really unique, with colorful, stylish environments that are a joy to explore. The art direction is top-notch, and it's one of those games where you'll often stop just to take in the scenery. One thing I loved is the cat and mouse dynamic between Colt and Juliana, another assassin who's hunting you down. Sometimes Juliana is controlled by another player, which adds a whole new level of unpredictability and excitement. Those encounters are always intense and keep you on your toes. The story is intriguing and full of twists. As you learn more about the island and its inhabitants, you get drawn into the mystery of why you're stuck in this loop. The characters are well written and have a lot of personality, especially Colt, who's a great mix of badass and sarcastic.
More Colts in here if we're gonna wreck this island in a cold storm.
No, listen, I can't stay.
I remember spending hours just experimenting with different approaches. One time I spent a whole evening just figuring out how to get 2 targets in the same place at the same time. When I finally pulled it off, it felt amazing. That's what Deathloop does so well, it makes every success feel earned. If you're looking for a game that's different from the usual open world fare, Deathloop is a great choice. It's clever, stylish, and a ton of fun to play. Give it a shot and enjoy figuring out the best way to break the loop. You won't regret it. Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Deus Ex Mankind Divided is another gem I have to mention when talking about realistic graphics. Narratively, Eidos Montreal's game loves to play with light and shadow, and it does so in such an effective way that this contrast is even more pronounced in the graphical component. Indoors, we can find soft lighting that blends with small details like a mist formed by the cold. Outdoors, the neon lights are abundant, and we have highly detailed environments that reflect the social issues illustrated in this franchise. Elden Ring.
Corpse after corpse left in my wake. As I awaited his return. Heed my words. I am Melania, Blade of Mikola.
The lands between an Elden Ring offer spectacular, unforgettable images so unique and varied. Each one invites us to want to know what lies beyond what we see at first glance, and every little corner of its open world is as detailed as you'd expect from its development team. The game's structures not only look realistic, but also have an internal story that enhances their photorealism. It's not just about what they show you at first glance, but how they show it to you in a very specific and detailed context. The wildlife, from small animals to large beasts, is incredibly well done, and every living creature feels real and organic. Even though it's an intergenerational game, it stands tall among the titans of its time, and it does so thanks to its artistic direction, which elevates all the virtues we just detailed. Final Fantasy 15.
The decreed hour is come. Set forth with my blessing, Prince Noctis.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
Take your leave and go in the grace of the gods.
Right.
You've probably heard Barney Stinson's phrase, "Nothing you do in life is legendary unless your best friends are there to see it." Well, Final Fantasy 15 captures that feeling perfectly. Every experience we live with Noctis' friends in the Kingdom of Lucis has its own particular realism, which further enhances the sense of intimacy and camaraderie we feel with them. The quiet gatherings around a campfire, where the flames emerge from the wood and release tiny particles into the air, are a prime example. The protagonist's magnificent hair would deserve an entire entire article of its own. Watching them eat or play together forms a small-scale representation of the realism in this installment, but if what you're after is enjoying everything on a grand scale, just look at how beautiful Alticia looks. Atlas Fallen. In a desert full of mysteries, I find an RPG with noteworthy graphics. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, even though Atlas Fallen made many mistakes in its design, one thing that's undeniably worth highlighting is its graphical prowess. The use of the Fledge engine provides a fantastic experience that's visually stunning. Like many other games we've mentioned, this is due to its excellent lighting work, which looks remarkably good both indoors and outdoors. You can notice it while exploring different caves, talking to residents of various cities, or venturing into a desert that seems endless. Final Fantasy XVI.
Knowing that you have but delayed the inevitable. Your world is already dead. May you enjoy an eternity on its blackened husk.
Final Fantasy XVI is another example that proves that outstanding art direction can make a game that might not be the best graphically become a leader thanks to this proper oversight. It sounds paradoxical at first, yes, but once you're immersed in the adventure, you'll be frozen in awe at the visual spectacle. Without belittling the rest of Final Fantasy, this installment is the most spectacular in the most literal sense of the word. The entire narrative is focused precisely on giving you a show you won't forget. The movements, attacks, and reactions of each icon possess extraordinary detail. Pay close attention to how Ifrit strikes, how Garuda's feathers move with accurate realism, and how the actions of both directly impact the environment they fight in. And stepping away from the grandiose battles, you'll also find scenes and character models with excellent work behind them that don't clash with the exaggerated tone of this game in the best sense of the word. Lies of P.
Can you hear me? Geppetto's puppet. We need your help.
Lies of P strikes a balance between being a great homage to Souls games and a tribute to Miyazaki's work. It moves between these two ideas, and while it does, it offers a visual show that captivates anyone who glimpses it for the first time. Its desolate atmosphere, the architecture of each setting, the clever use of light and shadow, the effective use of weather, and of course the impressive character modeling all make the universe of Lies of P feel believable within the grand tale it ends up being. Demon's Souls remake. Moving on from being a game that wasn't a visual benchmark but was artistically impressive, we now have the Demon's Souls remake, which has finally become a worthy graphical protagonist of the PlayStation 5 generation. Every setting possesses an almost obsessive level of detail, and the atmosphere in each place feels special with lighting that leaves a strong impact. From every cobblestone on the ground to the sword you wield with precision, even our attacks or those of our enemies have realistic reactions. Our weapons can bounce off objects around us and hinder our victory in battle, but that doesn't take away from the fact that the massive strikes from the final bosses make us think their attacks might bounce back due to the magic of realism. Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Huh? Look!
The eyes of one who has bathed.
The reimagining of Final Fantasy VII has given us one of the most beautiful video games you'll find in recent years, both in its remake and its sequel, Rebirth. Cloud's story enjoys photorealism worthy of praise. Yes, I know it might seem odd to combine ultra-fantastical monsters with a very traditional and grounded realism like the Seventh Heaven, but does it really matter? Every model, no matter how unbelievable it may seem, is detailed to an almost obsessive level. Look at Cloud's eyes, how the lighting creates unforgettable scenes, or how the fire and its particles behave with hyper-realistic accuracy. I could go on like this all day, but whether inside or outside of Midgar, Final Fantasy VII has graphics that make us tip our hats, like a dragon, infinite wealth. Those of you who've enjoyed the adventure of like a dragon infinite wealth will understand immediately why I've included this game on this list. I could also mention the Judgment series, from which you'll get a clear idea. The Yakuza games are beautiful and represent Japan with great realism, making you want to hop on a plane and travel there. However, with Infinite Wealth, something different happens. It makes us want to go to Hawaii as well. The representation of the Pacific Island is as realistic as the districts you can explore in previous Yakuza games. This makes the blocks, buildings, market stalls, and various landscapes like waterfalls or beaches end up being breathtaking. Without a doubt, this is a game for dreaming while awake, especially if you can't afford a summer trip to Hawaii. Call of Juarez Gunslinger. Call of Juarez Gunslinger is like a shot of whiskey on a cold night. It's got a kick to it, but it warms you up in all the right ways. This is a game that doesn't try to be anything it's not. It's a lean, mean gunslinging machine that serves up a good old-fashioned Western experience, but with a twist. The story is told through the eyes of Silas Greaves, a grizzled bounty hunter who's spinning his tales of adventure to a bunch of folks in a saloon.
Own a job in their own damn hometown.
And let me tell you, Silas is not the most reliable narrator. 1 minute you're shooting down a posse of bandits, the next you're up against a whole army. Because Silas suddenly remembers things differently. It's a storytelling style that makes the game feel like you're in on the joke, like you're sitting there with Silas, a whiskey in hand, listening to him embellish his tall tales. The gameplay itself is slick, fast, and doesn't waste your time. You're a cowboy with a revolver, a rifle, and a bad attitude, and that's really all you need. The shooting mechanics are tight, and the game just feels good in that old school arcadey way. The duels, they're highlight tense, sweaty palm showdowns where a single misstep means staring at the wrong end of a bullet. You feel every draw, every trigger pull. It's almost like you're back in the old arcade days, but with a modern twist. And visually, for a game that didn't have the deepest pockets, it's downright gorgeous. The cel-shaded style gives it a unique look that stands out from the crowd of hyper-realistic shooters. It's bright, bold, and captures the essence of those spaghetti westerns we all love. Plus, the soundtrack is pure western gold, adding that extra layer of grit and tension to every gunfight. What makes Call of Juarez Gunslinger truly shine is how much heart it has. It's clear the devs were having a blast making this game, and that joy translates directly to the player. It's one of those rare gems that flies under the radar but leaves a lasting impression. Whether you're a fan of westerns or just looking for a game that knows how to have fun, this one's worth every penny, and trust me, once you've drawn against the likes of Jesse James or Billy the Kid, you'll be itching for another showdown. Scarlet Nexus. Scarlet Nexus is like an anime fever dream where you're battling grotesque monsters with your brainpower, and it's every bit as thrilling as it sounds. The game throws you into a futuristic world where psychic abilities are the norm and a mysterious threat known as the Others is wreaking havoc. You get to pick between two main characters, Yudo and Kasan, each with their own unique set of abilities and storylines. Starting off, you're greeted with a vibrant cityscape and a soundtrack that gets your adrenaline pumping. The combat is a blast. Imagine telekinetically hurling objects at enemies and then dashing in for a flashy close-up attack. It's fast, it's smooth, and it feels incredibly satisfying when you pull off a well-timed combo. The blend of psychic powers and physical attacks keeps things exciting, and you'll find yourself experimenting with different strategies to see what works best. The story is where Scarlet Nexus really shines. It's not just about punching monsters, it delves into some pretty deep themes about memory and identity. You'll be piecing together the past while fighting off monstrous foes, and the dual perspective of Yudo and Kasan adds layers to the narrative. It's like solving a mystery while your brain is constantly juggling psychic battles. The characters are memorable, with backstories that make them feel real and relatable. Graphically, the game's anime-inspired art style is both striking and vibrant. The character designs are stylish, and the futuristic environments are full of detail. The others are visually unique, adding a touch of the bizarre to the already strange world. The animation during combat and cutscenes is smooth, making everything from a simple attack to a dramatic story moment look fantastic. If you're into action-packed RPGs with a cool psychic twist and a story that makes you think Scarlet Nexus is worth diving into, it's got the high-energy combat and compelling narrative to keep you hooked from start to finish. And if you're like me and enjoy a game that mixes up its gameplay and story in intriguing ways, you'll find Scarlet Nexus to be a refreshing and engaging experience.
Oh yeah, there's a hawk in the sky.
Atomic Heart. Atomic Heart feels like a fever dream set in an alternate Soviet Union where things have gone wildly off the rails. Picture this, you're in a dystopian 1950s USSR, and instead of the usual Cold War drama, you're dealing with rogue robots, mutant creatures, and all sorts of bizarre science experiments gone wrong. It's like someone took the classic Soviet era and threw it into a blender with a crazy sci-fi horror movie. From the get-go, Atomic Heart grabs you with its eerie atmosphere. The environment is richly detailed, from the creepy, abandoned research facilities to the overgrown, desolate landscapes. It's got this surreal, unsettling vibe that makes every corner feel like it's hiding something sinister. The visuals are pretty striking, with a mix of retro-futuristic design and grimy industrial decay. It's like wandering through an old Soviet dreamscape that's been twisted into something out of a nightmare. The combat is intense and varied. You've got a range of weapons and abilities at your disposal, and you'll need every bit of them to survive the onslaught of enemies. The melee combat is surprisingly satisfying, with a variety of weapons you can upgrade and customize. The shooting mechanics are solid too, with a range of firearms that feel weighty and impactful. The enemies you face are all sorts of weird and creepy, from robotic monstrosities to grotesque mutants, each requiring a different strategy to take down. The story is a mix of bizarre and intriguing. You play as a KGB officer investigating a research facility gone dark, and the deeper you get, the stranger things become. It's got that classic what the heck is going on vibe, with a narrative that unfolds through environmental storytelling and scattered notes. It's not a straightforward plot, but it's engaging in its own chaotic way. And the characters you meet along the way are as twisted as the world you're exploring, adding a layer of dark humor and unpredictability. One of the coolest things about Atomic Heart is how it blends survival horror with action and exploration. It's not just about shooting things, you're scavenging for resources, solving puzzles, and dealing with unexpected threats. The game keeps you on your toes with its constantly shifting tone and pacing. If you're into games that mix surreal environments with intense combat and a weird, twisted story, Atomic Heart is definitely worth checking out. It's got a unique vibe that's hard to put into words, and it delivers a fresh take on the first-person shooter genre with its eerie setting and unpredictable gameplay. Stray. Stray definitely deserves a recommendation. It's so much fun to explore the world from the viewpoint of a cat, and the developers took this concept and designed it to near perfection. Starting at the animations of your feline character, how you can interact with other cats, the inhabitants of this world and the world in general, and how everything is structured. You can feel that a lot of love and work was put into every little detail of the game to allow you to truly experience how it feels to explore the world as a cat. If you are on the lookout for a different kind of adventure, you should definitely give Stray a go. Stray is essentially a short adventure game in which the player needs to figure out things via puzzles and dialogue. Whilst this is fun and entertaining, I felt like the game was a bit too short for my liking. It took me around 6 hours to complete my first playthrough, and I spent a fair amount of time discovering hidden areas and exploring the beautifully crafted levels. I personally enjoyed the fact that I couldn't understand what the robots were saying without the help from B12, so sometimes I felt kind of alienated because I didn't understand the language but was guided by instincts and simple motions, which makes sense because I was controlling a cat, right? All zones are beautiful and low-key stunning in their own way. From the dangerous sewers to the wonderful small and bigger urban eras in which the dystopian cyberpunk style shines a lot. The story itself is quite simple, but the combination of the story, gameplay, and atmosphere was intriguing enough to keep me going. Also, the fact that this game feels pretty unique was something that kept me interested as well. One of the coolest things about Stray is that you can do things a cat would do as well: push objects to the ground, jump to places you shouldn't usually jump to, make robots fall because you walk between their legs and meow whenever you like. Well, that was all for this video. I will see you in the next one. Have a good day.